before it all ends.
Before you cancel StreamYard for real this time.
For real this time, I know. We're not live yet. There's 0 eyeballs on it, or CBS logos.
CBS logos are sad.
Yeah. It says you're live for like 15, 16, 17,
Yeah,
18. That doesn't say that people are included. Oh, there's 56. Then all of a sudden, 56 people tune in.
But only 5 were waiting.
Yeah, what is this? There's so many people in the chat here. What's going on?
They love the gay episodes, I guess.
I haven't done my little media. I haven't done my little banners yet. What have I done? I've just been lollygagging. Hi, everyone. Hi, Livestream.
Drunken fool.
Drunk on my own power, Warren.
That's kind of alcohol.
Yeah. So I'll do that. Talk amongst yourselves while I do
Quad
busy
generation.
work.
Sweet. Quad generation sounds like something you get in a stereo or a car from the 70s.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. Like, oh, man, here's Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. Quad generation, man.
That's when you stick speakers in your rec room and you get the right kind of ugly rug to conduct the sound.
Put the speakers in the rec something. You're all pixely there, Mr. Shapansky.
Not for me. Not on my end.
He's a little stuttery, but...
I'm looking 15 seconds ago on YouTube here. My monitor, I can't. It looks fine.
Time travel.
We've effing time traveled, right?
Yes. You've stabilized now, mostly. Not completely, but mostly.
Well,
it's like watching news things where they bring somebody in over Zoom and it looks like it's like 1983.
It's amazing.
Oh, I know.
With the image quality.
COVID just completely changed every broadcasting standard.
You could totally tell who was rich and who was poor, because who was rich had crappy internet because they were in a cottage hiding from the disease.
Yeah.
And then the poor people, or the poor working schlubs, we all had good internet because we were in cities, stuck there amongst our fellow diseased maniacs.
Yeah, Evan Dwyer, CBC News, had the worst internet. I think he lived somewhere in the sticks in cottage country, so on CBC News when he would do reports, he would do it in his yard or something like that. Even then, it was like horrific.
My two favorite things were spotting, because everybody's at home, so you'd look at where they lived. Some woman who I can't remember what her name was. She was like a business reporter on CBC, and she showed up and she had this magnificent marble kitchen, and I'm like, she clearly lives in way the hell out there, Toronto.
All right.
And then Natasha Fatah shows up, and she's obviously in a tiny little place with a rack of shoes behind her, and I'm like, that is a tiny condo downtown. It has to be. But then Ingrid Arsenault did the National from her backyard, which is kind of cool. They should keep doing that.
Yeah.
And you live in a tiny condo downtown, so
I sure do.
You're very well versed in that.
Yeah, well, I got dollies, so I'm cool.
You have dollies. But you have bookshelves. That's what matters most.
That's true, too.
Boop, 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 boop. How's everyone doing? I haven't been looking at the chat because I'm adding little lower thirds here.
Lots of Eurovision talk.
Oh, God. We're done.
Switzerland has a new record for the difference between jury points and televote points.
Neil's done with the show now. Well, as you keep telling me, Neil, it'll all be over soon.
Yeah, come on. Give it a couple more weeks, Neil. You can be done with it permanently.
Can't wait for World of Telly to have Ian Levine as a special guest.
Oh, God.
I can certainly wait for
that. Looking through the chat. Hi, everyone. Steve Manfred's out there. Happy 45th anniversary to those celebrating the Mount St. Helens eruption.
My party's scheduled for...
I've got a little confetti cannon. It's shaped like Mount St. Helens, and they just pull it, and the lava comes out of it.
Like 59 people died. I shouldn't, but it was one of my earliest memories. I remember watching Dukes of Hazzard on the the Friday night before was May 16th, and they said
horrific.
There's like an alert. There's like alert because it's from Spokane, Washington. They say there's a alert, please evacuate, and they whatever, go on, and then Sunday morning, May 18th.
I remember the ash being on cars in Edmonton.
Not in Edmonton, Southern Alberta.
I swear I saw it.
It was in Lethbridge.
No, I remember seeing it in person, so it must have been here.
Oh, were you? Yeah, of course you were in Edmonton then.
Yeah.
When did you move to Edmonton, Warren?
When I was 3 years old in 1974.
That's right.
73, because I was in kindergarten in 74.
That's right, because Manitoba was 7 years away from getting power. I can't remember now.
Yes, that we were primitive folk, even though my dad worked at a power generating nuclear power complex.
Yeah.
which is now being burned dead to the ground because that's Whiteshell.
Oh.
All those fires are happening.
There you go, Steve.
What's that?
Steve Manfred saying that to Ian Levine inadvertently said that season 13 is the next collection, Blu-ray collection.
Did he really? Did he? Oh, see.
He boasted he knew the order of the next 4 sets and then said he wouldn't say what it was, then kept answering questions that gave clues that narrowed it down to season 13.
Ian Levine said that. I'll tell you this. I'll say this. The reason why they keep it so tight to their vests is Richard Bignell told me expressly because of Ian Levine, because he used to tell him and he used to leak it immediately. So I don't know if Ian Levine knows for sure, because some other party might have told him perhaps.
Couple of years ago when I was in London, I met up with Russell Minton for coffee.
Right.
And we're talking about the Blu-ray collections. This is, I think, before 20 was announced. Anyway, at the time, I think 20 was the next one. Anyway, yeah, he would tell me about how Ian Levine would incessantly text him about this or that or whatever relative to Blu-ray sets. So.
Did he use the word incessantly?
Possibly.
Or is that you embellishing it? Which I'm totally for, don't get me wrong.
But yes, his name is basically a 4-letter word in the BBC circles.
I'm just trying to think. Blu-rays. What do we got? How many do we have left? I've already lost count. We got season 7 coming out here.
Well, we got 5 of the first 6 years to come. So
yeah, that's true.
Beyond that, we have 13, 16, 20. Or
21. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't shut up. I'm counting. 11, 13, 16,
21. That's it.
9 left. And then
and the
wilderness
years
that everyone seems to think is happening for sure. And then they'll start working on. Can you imagine? Oh, I can't wait for the Eccleston.
It'd be cool if they do it.
Yeah, if they do Eccleston. No, we haven't started, Craig. This is the preamble. You can hardly tell. So listen, the reason why we have music on during this preamble is to separate this off-topic banter from the in-show off-topic banter.
Slightly
that won't
less
have the
off-topic.
music on
Barely banter.
As we review an episode today, we just wait for the thing to fill up. We, warm up. What do we? We're only 8 minutes in. This is nothing.
So go Leafs.
Go Leafs. I'm wearing the Jets because Mark Scheifele's star player for the Jets, his dad died the day before Game 6 last night. And he scored the only goal for the Jets that game, but got a penalty late in the third period and was in the penalty box in overtime when the Jets got scored on. It was very sad. This is my support for the Jets and the whiteout. The Oilers would have played the Jets, which would have made it even sadder to throttle them. So go Oilers versus Stars, which incidentally will mess up our live stream next week. Just
sure
give
will.
you a heads up there, everyone. Won't be at this time. It'll be at a different time. We'll talk about that during the actual episode. So there we go. That's our banter. That's any other banter you want to get out of the way before we start the episode proper here? Or
I'll just say the Dancing Queen is in support of ABBA and my visit to the ABBA Museum in Sweden this last.
That's not where you got it from.
That's where I got it from, and I was like, "Where am I going to wear this?" And then here, and I guess Pride in August in Vancouver, I suppose.
You can wear it in many places.
You can wear it anywhere. Yeah.
Well, I'm neither good at dancing nor a queen, so it's
You
false
can learn.
advertising.
You can learn both.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, having my coffee here. A little early.
I am the queen of King Archie's world. There you go. I'm pandering specifically to you, Chris, with that Chasing Amy reference.
King Archie's world is an Archie Punjabi.
No, but there you go. There's our title, Queen of King Archie's world.
Yeah.
No, we already picked the title.
I know, but
Even though I don't understand it, but then I don't understand.
it's a very funny line from Chasing Amy, which remains Kevin Smith's best movie.
Kevin Smith. He's an Oilers fan.
Yes, he is.
Everything has to go through that filter.
Is
he a Doctor Who actor?
He's a Gretzky fan, come Oilers fan. But yes.
Well, you got to knock that first one out of there to stay an Oilers fan,
That's
because
true.
he's a betrayer to all that's good and proper.
Yeah.
Gretzky, I mean.
Yeah. Roller Baz and Coaster Dad, you called it EULERS. I do that all the time. In fact, I have an autocorrect in my phone to say whenever I type Eulers, put in Oilers because
You can
can't
set
type on my
autocorrects? I had
phone.
no idea.
Of course you
Yeah,
can.
I did. Yeah,
Word substitution.
Oh, I could change ducking to the obvious
that's one of
one.
them. That's one of them. Yeah.
Well, that no longer autocorrects that anyway. But there's also Euler's number, which 2.7 something. I can't remember. It's a mathematical thing. Like
Why does where's my Doctor Who? It disappeared on me.
You're going to ask that in a few weeks' time.
There it is.
Dun, 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 dun.
Wah, making your mind up.
Oh, right. I should load up my my notes for this thing we're about to talk about.
Former supporter, yeah. Cincinnati Stingers, R.I.P. You can see a Cincinnati Stingers poster or sticker on the window often in WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh, I have a hockey question for you. I couldn't remember if there's
please.
like the professional women's hockey. Is it
Yes.
just Canadian teams or is there American teams?
There are 6 teams.
And they're both
8
playing against each other. It's not 2 separate things.
Exactly. 8 next
Okay.
year because they're expanding to Vancouver and Seattle.
I know that. There's no name for Vancouver yet.
No,
but-
yeah, no. To be honest, I don't even remember all the names because they started their first year with no names, and then they got nicknames this past year. Minnesota Frost, Boston Fleet, New York.
I don't remember. There's a women's soccer team too called the Rise, which is just down the street. So,
Right.
because they
If
play
you
something
have a
like
women's
that.
team, you can't have names with S's on the end. That's the way it is.
Okay.
That's a rule. It's just a rule.
With any S or starting with S?
No S. You can't have any S. They have to be singular names. Apparently, that's the rule because every name has.
Oh, okay, because you said Frost, and that's got an S.
It's got an S, but it's
But it's
it
not
should
plural.
be Frost.
Oh, okay.
So you can't have
Minnesota-
Why is that a rule?
I'm kidding. It's just because it's every name they came out with is a singular name, and it's not. Oh no, wait, Scepters. Toronto Scepters has an S. Ottawa Charge, Montreal Victoire. Oddly enough, they lost.
Honestly, better names than the NHL.
New York Sirens. Thank you, Schalker. Yeah. It's Ottawa versus Minnesota. That epic geographical rivalry in the PWHL final. So, there we go. What do you say? Shall we talk about some Doctor Who?
Let's do it. The one we were dreading. We might be dreading the next one more, honestly, at this point.
We'll get into that. One of my, I think I'd like to start a podcast. It's called "We'll Get Into That," but it's just because
Great.
so many people say no.
That sounds like
Yeah.
something that an annoying comedian hosts.
Oh no, because whenever I listen to a podcast, sometimes it's like people at the very beginning. But we'll get into that, and then they never do. And I just it'll basically just be a topic that they never get into.
Endless
that.
digressing.
And then they change to a different topic, and they but we'll get
But at
into
least-
that, and then they change the topic, and they never get into it.
At least you're happy you can now talk about it.
Oh,
So
God.
happy we can talk. Oh,
There's another title for you.
I know. You know what I love about when what is it when the Macs you can control one Mac from another mouse? I have no idea where my
Oh,
mouse.
screen share. I'm
Screen
trying to. In fact,
Don't deal for my mouse
I do that with
right
my
now.
dad, but he's at the age now where he can't really find the button. So I'm
Right.
going to Edmonton in about a month, and I'm like, first thing I'm doing is going on his computer, going, I have absolute permission to get into this thing from
Right.
anywhere at
Yeah.
any time.
All right, that's enough banter. Banter concluded, everyone. We've got 120 odd people in here, so let's do it. Let's talk about some Doctor Who. Are you
Are
ready?
they all odd?
Who's all odd?
Like
Yeah,
I
the
said,
Doctor
we
Who
have,
fans,
we
of
have,
course
we have
they are.
120 odd people in here. So.
124, so technically not odd yet. If we get another one, I'll let you know.
We have even people.
We have an even number of people in there right now. So, okay, here we go. Doctor Who, Radio Free Skaro, episode number 1015. It's late.
Yeah,
125. We're back to an odd number. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 1015. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
and Chris in Edmonton.
We just watched, Erica and I watched the movie Strange Days.
Ah, yes.
yeah.
What'd you think of it?
Oh, it was terrible. How
dare you.
Just an ugly movie. But
Excuse me. No movie with Angela Bassett at age 30 is ugly. That's just a rule.
I see. I knew you were going to do this. So just
Well,
there's your
of
platform.
course.
Take it. Two things. First
And
off,
Voldemort. Don't forget Voldemort.
we didn't realize that the sample from Right Here, Right Now by Fatboy Slim comes directly from that movie. But
I did not
secondly,
know
No?
it's
Okay.
made in 1995, and
So
it
it
was
was.
like predicting 1999, and they thought that everyone was going to call it 2K. Hey man, 2K, happy 2K. Like we never called it that, obviously. But maybe we should
2K
just
Sports sure as heck did.
yeah, we should revert it to like hello everyone, welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 1K15.
No, thank you. Absolutely not. And don't do that.
1995.
Never ever do
y'all.
that again.
So
Doing
how
95.
can it be
Restraining
ugly if
order
it's
here and now.
shot in the 90s? Because shot in the 90s movies look inherently better by Fiat
'Cause they're on
than
film.
ones now.
Yeah, even by the Italian car Fiat. Anyway, welcome to RFS 1K15.
I'm out.
Yep.
I didn't
Gotta go.
do the hand thing. I didn't do the
Well,
hand
that's just it's icing on the cake of crap.
thing. 95
Episode
baby.
episode MXV has been been
Okay,
called
that's
out in
enough.
the chat.
We're not doing that because Romans already did podcasts.
Listen, you got me the
Well,
Dancing
we'll
Queen
get to
t-shirt. Isn't that
that.
enough?
We'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Anyway, big congratulations to Austria winning Eurovision.
Which you watched a little bit of. So.
I did not.
We'll get into a
Not
tiny
you,
bit
him.
of that.
The other him.
I know.
Congratulations
I'm just putting my
to,
bona fides out there.
to Crystal Palace for not only winning their first FA Cup, apparently, and first major trophy, but also doing it in regulation time, thus meaning that Doctor Who could broadcast on BBC One.
and
get-
also, beating Man City. So.
And what's wrong? Man City used to be the whipping boy to Man U, and then all of a sudden they
Man
didn't some, like,
U's
oil
2
barons
points away
come
from
to the league?
relegation this year right now.
Are
So.
they really?
None of that means anything to me. But Crystal Palace is a cool name and always has been. It sounds very
should-
important.
Next time you go to London, you should go to Crystal Palace. They got like
Also
dinosaurs and
sounds
stuff.
like it also sounds like a notorious like meth den or something like that. You know, like it
Does
just
a little
like
bit, yeah.
yeah.
It sounds
No,
classy
that's-
and yet a meth den.
that's
Yes.
that's the one in East London. That's Crystal Meth Palace.
all the aristocrats who are down on their luck go to Crystal Palace for a hit.
Yeah.
Let's go back to dabbing.
Let's go.
No, I never. That's
1K15,
not.
baby.
That wasn't for real.
That's not dabbing. Anyway, as you all know, listeners to this podcast here know, this episode has been
Dreaded.
looming on the horizon because it's Eurovision, because there's music in it for Warren and I for I'm gonna say weeks, but let's face it, decades.
Yeah, as long as
we-
we knew this thing existed, we were like Eurovision. Oh god.
the possibility of such a thing. So we were trepidatious, let's say, going in. Chris here, the third member of our crew, is a diehard Eurovisionist.
and an Eurovision enjoyer.
And a Euro revisionist, too.
Euro revisionist as well.
Bring back the War of the Roses. I said what I said.
Do you ever do like retro Eurovisions, like pre-1956, where like what would have won Eurovision in 1953 or something like that? And just look at all the chart-topping
Well,
countries.
given it started in 1956, I'm pretty sure I can't go back to
Some guy with a
1953,
ukulele.
But
No, it's, you know what I mean? Like let's. What if we judged? Notice how the way that I knew what year Eurovision started. All right, I did research for this. All right,
I didn't.
research.
And I'm proud of that. I'm equally proud of not doing research.
Chris, I want to hear your thoughts first. Being a Doctor Who episode that's mostly set in a space Eurovision setting, what are your initial thoughts of this Doctor Who episode, the Eurovision space contest?
the Interstellar
called
Song
that.
Contest.
That's the
What are my
Song
initial
Contest.
thoughts?
Yep. Tell us.
I can only start off with the same thing I've said for darn near every episode this series.
All right.
I've watched it twice. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I dislike it. But
Right.
initial thoughts were I had thought that there's at least a possibility there. The song contest portion of things could have been a much more diminished aspect of the storyline. Possibly even something that that could have been over and done with once the cold open was out of the way. But no, it wasn't. It persisted longer, and my biggest fear was
Like a rash.
my biggest fear was the production and the producers not I don't want to say deference, not paying deference, but just giving Eurovision its due as a
Right.
big thing. And I don't think they delivered on that.
Oh.
I have a similar thought, but in a different direction.
It's RTD in whatever Unleashed or whatever is talking about how he wanted the songs to be of a Eurovision style, whatever, and then so he let Murray Gold out on it.
Thoughts on that too?
Yeah.
We got Dugadoo. What can I say?
Listen, you know what?
Beloved.
I'm gonna say when Dugadoo came
Which
on,
Cat wants for a ringtone for.
Well,
for
listen,
music.
when Dugadoo came on, here's I thought that Dugadoo was a real thing, like maybe some
So did I.
CBBC thing, because it was so different and weird and memorable.
Well, it's kind of like what does the Fox thing sing or whatever that, something like that, yeah.
Compared to the other songs on there, so I thought, oh, that must be a real thing, but apparently it wasn't. It was all in Murray Gold's head. So he is capable of coming up with nonsense that's good, as opposed to nonsense that we got.
Well, okay.
Well, I mean, even for the main guest star Cora, her song about big feet, like.
Oh God! Oh man!
And then you get RTD in the making of what Unleashed talking about. Oh, I've been going around for the last few weeks to sing big feet. It's like, okay. I mean, you guys are the ones making this. I just got to sit there and watch it. I'm not putting in the work that you are.
That was a
But
dumb song. I didn't like that song. They had in the behind the scenes. They had more of Liz Lizardine and her song, and I'm glad that we didn't hear more of that in the actual.
She's a good singer. I'll give her that.
We got enough of that when she was last on the show. Thank you.
She was the Goblin singer.
Yeah.
Just play the same one. I can't remember her name right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a middling initial response from Chris Warren. Let's go to Nul Point. Is that a thing? Did I do it right?
I don't know what that means, but sure, yeah.
Because they only give it. I don't understand how the voting works. Maybe I'll ask you later. Warren, what is your initial thoughts on this episode that we were dreading?
Surprisingly, I was watching it and I'm like, you know what? I don't mind this, and I have specific reasons to me as to why I don't mind it. Sort of the same thing Chris said, except in the opposite direction. Right. There was less singing than I thought there would be, and I was like, okay, this is just fine. The songs weren't great, except the last one at the end, which was sort of germane to what they were talking about. It was pretty good, and it made sense in the story. But the rest of them, I just kind of disassociated. Like, I actually turned down the sound. I'm like, I'm not listening to this crap. And then I turned it back up because they're actually doing story stuff. The song was in the background. They're doing story stuff. I'm like, okay, this is good. They got all this Die Hardy stuff happening while the song's in the background. I'm totally fine with this. And just the kind of the general fun vibe of it kind of roped me in, and I just kind of ignored the Eurovision parts of it, and there was less than I thought there'd be, which was a big relief, which I know is not why most people are tuning into this, but for me, I can only speak for me. I was like, okay, there's less of the Eurovision crap, which I do not care about, and more of the fun parts of Eurovision. So I loved... Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, it's a setting.
Exactly.
It's not the story.
It's as good as I'm going to get out of this. Yeah. And I love Gary and Mike, and especially when Mike doesn't care about Eurovision. I'm like, this guy, he understands me. Like, we get each other, me and him. Right. Plus, just I thought that one of my favorite parts of the whole show is where Shooty, first of all, deliberately pays tribute to Fort Doomsday. With the confetti cannon.
Right. Obvious homage. An obvious
homage. Yeah. And then he comes in, he's about to make a point and falls over backwards. I'm like, okay, that's great. That is really funny. I love that. So all that kind of shenanigans and tomfoolery. And I've seen people, and it's a fair comparison, say, well, like in Kerblam, you got this guy who's like from this oppressed people, and you're just kind of going, no, the people in charge are better. And I'm like, okay, that's fair, but also... with all the razzmatazz and ding dong happening here, I'm not really paying attention to it. So, the one part I did roll my eyes at, surprisingly, is when the bi-generation and Ronnie thing. and the thing is, like, and now I'm fine with it, just like I was with the original bi-generation. I'm like, whatever, it's what we're getting. But when it happened, I was like, oh, come on, really? All this other stuff, mysteriously, I was able to put up with, and then the Ronnie thing, I'm like, oh no, this is a bridge too far, sir. A bridge too far.
As soon as it happened in the giggle, you know that the next time we saw Time Lord, it's gonna happen. I'm
gonna make my usual prediction that the only reason you have two time ladies, I guess, is that so you can bring back Tennant for 5 minutes in the finale, which maybe that's not gonna happen, but it seems like the kind of thing that might happen.
Don't do that. Come on, I'm already
the part of the Holy Trinity.
I'm already bracing for impact here when it comes to an RTD finale.
Exactly.
Don't throw this other. So you know what?
Surprisingly, I didn't mind this actually. I mean, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. It did what it said it would do, and it did it in a way that didn't annoy me as much as I thought it would.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, our subwoofer was like glitching in and out all day, and it was starting to happen early on in the episode. And I thought instead of pausing it, I'm just going to wait for the first song so I can go and unplug the thing and turn it back on again. So that's what I did during the first song, was fix the subwoofer to give you an indication of where my mind was going into this thing. Let's get this over with, and I'll fix the subwoofer. Yes, Warren.
One more thing about the songs. Juno Dawson wrote them, and so they're that much better. Like, I had no problem with
Murray Gold wrote them. Juno Dawson helped.
Oh, I thought she did the lyrics. Well, as opposed to RTD doing the lyrics, definitely a step up.
RTD was completely hands off.
Okay, good. So that's the main thing. RTD being hands off.
Yeah.
So Murray Gold's musical contributions don't bother anywhere near as much as the lyrics of RTD, which are just bad. Nobody will tell him that.
As we got to 35 minutes left in the episode, and Kid got taken away, and I thought, oh no, there's like 15 minutes left.
I also checked that. I'm like, well, what's
is this for all the songs
earlier than usual, as Homer would say?
I know, and I thought, oh no, this is where the songs are gonna happen, and I thought whatever
you were partially right.
The song for Hellier was like, oh,
God. It was fine.
It was short.
At least it was short, but it was just an unmemorable song. Thankfully, the song wasn't in English, so we didn't have to critique the lyrics.
It was the least bad one.
I think we'll get into more as time goes on, I'm sure. But I think at the end of the day, this one is going to be like Fugitive of the Jadoon, where you remember the big reveals, and the rest of it is like, oh, what happened to that story?
Yeah.
Although Fugitive of Jadoon is better for
that's true
as a story, a general story goes.
Yeah, it's tough to it's I mean I rolled my eyes severely. I had to stay up for an hour after I first watched this because the reveal was so cringe.
The Ronnie one, you mean, not the Susan one.
Let's face it, not the Susan one. Let's face it. That ending is. Anyway, I'll get into that. But first, I want to play something. I want to play
focus some attention there.
I want to play a clip right now. So back when Archie Panjabi was her casting was announced on Doctor Who. Archie Panjabi, famous for Bend It Like Beckham, Good Wife, all those sort of things. In September, was it, Chris? You said September 22nd. I think our episode of 2024. I'm going to play about a minute and a half clip here of us discussing the casting, because once she was cast, they never said. She said she was going to be a villain, and then we never heard from anything. And as the weeks came on in this season 2, we never heard anything. So here is our discussion about Archie Panjabi's casting on Radio Free Skaro, number 979, released September 22nd, 2024. Here it is. Because Archie Panjabi is set to play a Doctor Who villain in season 2. So Archie Panjabi, who has been in many different shows. She was in The Good Wife over on this side of the Atlantic, but has been in like Bend It Like Beckham. She played the breakout role in Bend It Like Beckham. I didn't know that. Snowpiercer, the show Snowpiercer, The Fall.
Shot in Vancouver.
Shot in Vancouver, Shetland.
Yeah, you'd never know.
Yeah, so she's been in a bunch of stuff, and she's going to play a villain in season 2. So who she'll play? Who knows? Ronnie, obviously. It's obviously the Ronnie.
Susan.
Or Susan.
And Susan at the same time.
What if Susan
was Mrs. Flood?
Susan is the Ronnie.
Who is Mrs. Flood?
My fan theories have been completely scrambled by this.
You got to pick. The Ronnie's going to be someone, either Mrs. Flood or Archie Panjabi's character. Which is it going to be?
So which is the dumber of the two? The right-wing cinematic universe that you have to follow to understand what the hell Trump's talking about at a debate, or these idiotic theories that we all come up with? I guess the more harmless one is obviously Star Wars, Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah, I will take this 100%. No idea who she's playing, but she's all of her stuff's already in the can anyway. So it's like speculate away. It ain't gonna change anything unless they go back and redub every time they say her actual character's name with the Ronnie instead.
The Ronner.
Yep.
Bad redubbing.
Exactly, Mr. Black.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So yeah, we'll see who that is in the months to come. So, there we go. There it is. Obviously, us and only us got it.
Yes,
bang
only us.
Then we mentioned Susan and the Ronnie and Mrs. Flood all in the same episode back in September.
We're mostly right.
Yeah. I gasped. I gasped when Susan came on. I
Yeah,
thought
I mean, that was kind of cool.
That got me. That was kind of cool.
I hope there's more Susan, not just a little bit more. Like he meets her in person would be nice.
Well, let's face it, he's gonna. You don't.
Maybe.
Yeah. But when the reveal happened, I rolled my eyes and I stayed up for an hour cleansing my soul because I thought
How
I was
did
dumb.
you cleanse your soul?
Did you watch Did you watch Time of the Rani?
I literally watched. No, I watched old hockey and anything other than Doctor Who. I didn't want to see anything like that. I think I don't want to have that be the last vision in my head going to bed. I've kind of gotten over it now. But once again, RTD is great at. When I say great, he loves doing reveals to people who don't have any vestige in the reveal.
Yeah, she's
it's
in
like
two different stories,
like,
and probably some big finish.
Well,
stuff.
she's regenerating and that's this big thing, but she's not regenerating to anyone in the story. She's not performing to the by-generating. Sorry, is that like I wanted them to cut back to Mike and Gary. He goes, "I am the Ronnie," and he goes, "Who the F's that?" Because they don't know.
Has begun. Even I had to go. Is that Kid Omar? I don't remember.
No, it's not Kid Omar. She never said. Oh God.
And go so far as to even ask Mike and Gary, has the Doctor left?
Yeah.
Now it's
right?
safe to do this.
Oh.
Like, okay, so if she was dying because of her brainstem or whatever,
right,
and had to regenerate, does she could wait till the Doctor left?
I don't know.
She couldn't do it if he was around. Is she able to delay that?
I don't know. It's best to not think about it. Like a lot of things with Doctor Who right now. Here I'm gonna do my best not to spoil Andor season 2. But the regrettable thing that Doctor Who has landed here. I don't watch many shows, but I'm watching The Last of Us season 2, which I'm greatly enjoying. I watch and work for the Edmonton Oilers during their another playoff run. Also very exciting. And Andor season 2 was possibly the greatest season of television I've ever seen since Andor season 1. And this has been happening concurrently with Doctor Who. And I remember when season 1 of Andor ended, and, because they made season 1, broadcast it, then shot season 2. And I thought, that was really great. I'm worried in some slight way that they'll think, oh, all the fans are thinking this. Let's put that into season 2. They stuck to their guns in Andor season 2. Everyone thought that, Luthen's going to be a Jedi. I just know it because he's got that ship with the lasers on the wings and they spin around and it was a cool ship and everything. And everyone's just assuming that, this is going to be this person, that's going to be that person, there's going to be reference and everything else. And this, be vague, it did none of that. It stuck to its story and was perfect. Doctor Who goes for the big reveal. And it kind of reminds me of, we always decried the Big Bang Theory.
And for good reason.
For many reasons, but like references are not jokes. And in a similar fashion, reveals are not story elements. Like revealing that someone is the Ronnie is not a big story thing. It's just a shock element to get people talking. It felt cheap.
So if I may also use Andor as a comparison piece,
right.
The reason it was great, Andor season 2 is fantastic, is that it takes something we're all intimately familiar with. It's almost 50 years old.
So familiar.
And it completely changes it around to something where, it's like a prestige adult series. In Star Wars, you have to remind yourself you're watching Star Wars at certain points. You're like, wait a minute, this is completely different than anything else. And Star Wars up to this point, and various other franchises, I'll just pick on Star Wars, keeps doing the same damn thing over and over, and it was getting tired. And this wasn't that. And Doctor Who, when it came back, was a new and yet still faithful version of Doctor Who. And now it's hit the point where it's doing the hits over again, so it's in the same boat as, say, Skeleton Crew. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to be that harsh because it's still Doctor Who and I'll still watch it and I still love it more than anything else.
Yep.
But it's definitely kind of that. It's kind of in the Acolyte and Ashoka and all the rest of it sort of pen, whereas old, like, let's say first RTD, well, pretty much everything up to the second RTD was not doing that.
Right. Yep. And I know he's playing hits. I was worried. I was hopeful. That 15 years away from Doctor Who would have, we'd get more RTD doing Children of Earth or It's a Sin or what's the political one that apparently
Years
bombed
Years and Years, which is great. I mean, it's got its own weird swings, but at least it's weird swings, you know?
Right. I thought it would be like this would be a sort of a more mature RTD doing stuff. And the Ronnie reveal told me that no, we're doing the same things. And he's expressly saying, "Oh, let's just give the fans what they want." I'm saying sometimes you don't give the fans.
Having
what they
said
want.
that, am I looking forward to Archie Punjabi chewing the scenery? Yes, I am. Sorry, not Archie. Did I say
Archie Punjabi? Yeah,
Punjabi.
that's her name.
Sorry about that. But I would like to see her camp it up because the Ronnie is camp to begin with, like in a different way in the '80s, but still pretty damn camp.
Well, the perception is that she's camp. You know, it's
based on Kate O'Mara's.
It's us picking up on it. It's us picking up on the sort of the panto feelings that the McCoy era sort of gave us, or that the memory that sticks in our heads. And so it's really just building on the perception of campness as opposed to the actual. You know?
And to be fair, my favorite master is Missy, and she's camp as hell. But she's still great.
She's and that's the thing. Too. Missy's been done. You know,
that's true too.
I mean, I know there was some consternation. RTD is sort of he said in an Instagram post just previewing next week, whereas before we even talk about this week. But he said that he showed a picture of Conrad, angry podcaster.
What are you even doing there?
As part of the evil unholy trinity of Conrad.
That's like the Ross Perot of villains. He's just kind of off to the side. What is this? I know. Dude?
But he did say that's blah, 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 something, but the Ronnie's most terrifying experiment yet. So that gives me some hope because I was worried that they just turned the Ronnie into another master clone. There's just an evil genius when the Ronnie is just basically an amoral scientist, you know?
Yeah, at least the previous one. It's a new regeneration, so she could have different motivations. Like
I suppose, but like
but it would be cool to have her be different, like you said, not just the master, not just essentially Missy.
Yeah, but
and Missy's got more layers than that anyway. So
way more layers, and I worry that we won't get those layers because RT doesn't do layers.
No,
as later on in the episode, after the Doctor, goes over the top and tortures that poor guy several times. We thought, oh wow, he must feel pretty triggered by all those the deaths of all those people, and that's why he did it. I know this because the Doctor said I was triggered by the potential deaths of 3 million. Thanks for just laying it right out there.
That bugged me that he was just sort of over-explaining.
There's just no subtext.
We can tell.
In it. There's no subtext in it. Anyway, Doctor Who doesn't stand a chance right now with me, thanks to Andor and playoff hockey, and its flaws were laid bare in a lot of this episode. For me, I'm talking myself into not liking it again.
Despite all that, I agree with everything you're saying, and it was just a bit of fluffy fun before the finale. So, and also I'm dreading the finale more than anything else. I was dreading this. Now I'm dreading the finale. My dread has been transferred. I
thought I was supposed to be the negative one here.
No, it's
I'm not even being all that negative, but I do agree with you.
Yeah, I'm. Anyway, the endings didn't sit well with me. Why is Mrs. Flood suddenly subservient to the Ronnie?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't.
Although you can't have two Ronnies trying
can't
to
have two alphas.
None of this explains the fourth wall breaking. So what's that all about? I'm sure that will get explained, but
I hope so.
Don't bet on it.
my hope is that the Ronnie is actually here to sort of be the Graham Chapman in Monty Python skits, and says, with all these gods and all this mavity nonsense going on, says this has become too silly, and he's going to come in, and the Ronnie's experiment says, oh, let's bring this back to science, damn it. And there's going to be like a weird cameo in the background with like a computer operator turn around, and he's 84-year-old Christopher H. Bidmead, and just saying, let's shut this down now.
Okay, I want to see this episode.
And then,
fiction.
We'll smack back into science in Doctor Who again, and that's what the Ronnie's here
I'm going to explain bubble memory to you, whether you like it or not.
Exactly. We're going to find out.
As a scientist, she needs to be a scientist.
She better be a scientist. Damn it. She better be a scientist, because she was a scientist in the original. I love that Pippa Jane Baker got a Ronnie created by Pippa Jane Baker.
They did.
But,
they did.
Yeah.
Quite late into the credits, but they got it.
I also like that, the BBC, they make a show that is the most just steeped in British culture, pop culture that I've ever seen. There's Eurovision, which I know nothing about. There's 60s Companions, which most people don't outside of the UK wouldn't like. I don't know who that old woman is. An 80s, like she says, the Ronnie, as if like, okay, so everyone's watching on Disney Plus. No idea who that is. It's basically the BBC like saying, we're going to take your money, Disney Plus, but we're going to make something expressly not for
Listen,
you.
as scams go, not a bad one.
It's pretty good. We're going to take all the money. The most expensive episode ever made of Peddler. Rylan, no idea who Rylan is.
So I saw Rylan.
He's a guy. It looks like a neat guy. It looks like he's
Rylan Clark is a presenter,
Yeah.
sometimes actor, but he came to prominence through Big Brother.
Apparently, he's
really?
very personable in person, because I was like, this guy looks like he'd be a real pain to hang with. And I had people say, no, he's actually not. He's apparently pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I looked at him, I'm like, that face is flawless. That's an uncanny valley face.
teeth
Like,
are
I
too
don't
bright.
think that's real,
I
actually.
think he's paid a lot to have that face.
Sure,
Yeah,
but I
it
mean, that's like the polygonal structure is high there.
Right, yeah. I think his teeth are its own black light, just like they shine everywhere else. You can just see him.
But I did like how he's making fun of his career in it. He's, oh,
That's
like my
true.
career.
There's some nice self. Yeah, I thought he was all right, actually. I didn't mind Rylan in that. I just didn't know who he was,
Apparently, the Ronnie was name checked in Space Babies, which, if that's the case, I have forgotten.
Oh
where's
my
Poppy?
God. The
Poppy wasn't in this
agenda.
one.
Is
Poppy
Poppy going to
was.
bi-generate
Was
into
she?
the Ronnie as the baby?
Was Poppy in the audience?
No.
No, we got Poppy Honey. I'm sure that's going to have something to do with
All right.
Poppy.
Okay, she became a honey magnate.
Bonnie Langford's dog.
Maybe she's the one that torched all of Hellia.
No, there you go.
Bonnie Langford's dog is named Puppy.
Why isn't Bonnie Langford's dog
Think
in
about
this?
that. Well,
Why isn't it
maybe
hanging
she
around
will
in
be.
unit? Maybe it will be
she
next week.
Maybe Bonnie Langford's probably going to be back.
So you'll be like, I hate this episode, puppy.
Yeah. I thought actually, as the episode started, the shot of the people getting sucked up into space, sucked off into space,
Great shot.
vortex.
terrifying.
Yeah,
really
that
good.
was very
I
well
like
done.
that.
I
That
wish-
looked very good.
I
And
wish-
the pop of the Mavity layer.
Yeah, I
whatever.
wish it's an impressive shot, so impressive they couldn't resist using it in all the trailers, which is unfortunate in a way because I thought
Well, we're all those silhouetted. That's the best shot.
that's I know when they're all like
Huge crowd shot. That's
like
great.
and like and you know what, the music actually underplayed that moment, rare, which I really liked. And then just to dump on the music again, honestly, Murray Gold's songs weren't the worst offender here. It was the music in underneath Cora's story telling about just like
That was a bit over the top.
Oh God!
The one part where it was over the top and it was fine is where he sees Susan and he's got to get back to the. Okay, I'm like, all right, this is the Doctor's theme. It's over the top. It should be at this point.
It's a little bit Princess Leia in space in Last Jedi and a boat.
Excuse me, it's for Doomsday. We've already established that.
Oh, okay, that's true. But I mean, freezing in space and sort
In
of
fact,
using.
the Princess Leia in space is ripping off Fort Doomsday as well. Everything is a mod.
Everything's ripping off for the Doomsday, exactly. So I like that bit.
You're talking about Rylan Clark. How about Mr. Graham Norton?
Graham Norton,
Inoffensive. I didn't mind him actually,
as a talking avatar,
and I liked how he's very cheerily telling us about the destruction of the Earth.
That's true. Yeah, that was fine, I guess. Kid was, I don't know. He seemed like
Kind of a nobody. Yeah.
He seemed, I mean, remarkably efficient, taking over the entirety of, he already has control of the bots, the murder bots, whatever they are. What are they? The security drones or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, the guys from Smith and Jones, basically.
Yeah.
Zhuzhed up.
He already had them. I feel like I would have appreciated some, I don't know, some build up to him actually like taking control of everything. I don't know, a bit more heisty stuff.
He's got his partner as the inside person,
right?
But as you say, he already had that control. Either it happens off screen and we don't see it, or he had it already and didn't need the inside person as much.
Takes it over pretty effectively in pretty quick fashion.
I call him Dirtbag Thanos because he's a dirtbag and he's doing what Thanos did, or trying to anyway.
With his Delta Wave augmenter, obviously a Kinda agenda right there as well.
Well, Delta Wave not augmenter, but obviously the joke is there.
Yeah.
You talk about how easily he took things over, which absolutely true. He was also dispatched
very easily.
very easily as well. So his whole purpose was like, maybe a couple like catalyst points, but the character itself was an utter waste.
He was
Damn.
kind of, wasn't he? He was a one note. He was very. Although, was it Freddie Fox? Is his name? Is that his the cat's name? I thought the way that he screamed in pain made that work. Like I felt for him. I felt for him when the doctor was doing his weird glove thing because it felt real. It was a good performance actually when he was in pain. But other than that, I thought it was like there was a dumb line which says, "Oh well, think of that. We got a plan for that. Well, say if he had food poisoning, like he built it up like he had a massive plan, and they just, I don't know, we'll do food poisoning. Food poisoning? I don't know. It just felt, anyway, that's, I'm feeling down on this episode. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this already?
Well, you're mostly the one doing it, actually.
I know.
So.
I thought we liked Doctor Who. Maybe we don't anymore.
What's with this plural? Like, I didn't mind this.
Yeah, I know.
Is it flawed? Yeah, but I didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't. I thought I was going to hate it and just not and want to turn it off, and I didn't. So, mission accomplished.
Yeah, I guess it was fine.
Yeah, fine. It was fine. That was all I ever expected out of it. It was fine.
This is where I'm coming to terms with it. Was it fine? I guess.
And also next week, not to jump too far ahead. RTD is great at build-up. I will forget and forgive many sins because the build-up will be fun, and then the finale will be like, come on, you did nothing with any of this, which is what he always does.
He's a good hype man.
Sound of drums, fantastic, great build-up.
I'm sure there's going to be a big shock reveal. Someone's going to say directly to camera, "You remember me?" I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to conjure up.
See, you got to have somebody fabulous. So that's why I'm saying it's Omega because he's fabulous in both his incarnations.
Oh, that's
right. But you got to have original OG Omega.
It'll be OG Omega to look like that, and
now they can afford name brand Rice Krispies for him.
we won't be talking. Actually, maybe it is an Arc of Infinity.
Yeah, Peter Davison stumbles in covered in Rice Krispies. He's bi-generated from that doctor or whatever.
There's a bi-generation.
Which makes no sense because that's Omega.
It's a bi-generation, and Peter Davison shows up, and he's there, and he bi-generates into Omega from Arc of Infinity
with Rice Krispies on his face that he can't get rid of.
On his face.
I keep eating these damn things, and they keep regenerating. Or bi-generating, so different cereals keep popping out of his face.
It's gonna happen, isn't it? All this stuff's gonna happen. Listen, we got the Ronnie and Mrs. Flood and Susan all in one go in September,
which is. Just the fact that they did that is kind of nuts.
No, nuts or anyway.
Kind of stupid too, yeah. But.
Chris, do you have notes for this one? I feel like we need some direction. Yeah. But Eurovision or this episode? Yeah.
We can talk about Eurovision.
You can talk about Eurovision.
Yeah. I watched Eurovision. I didn't watch it. I had it up on my iPad for the entirety of the competition, and I was mostly impressed by the stagecraft, about how they swapped out sets in like 35 seconds, and the LED walls going on and all this stuff is an impressive thing. And then I turned the volume up, and I'm like, this is like, what if AI created Broadway show tunes for different countries to sing? And that's what my general impression of the music was. And thinking, we're turning that volume right back down. I didn't like any of the songs. Not my type of music.
That's because they weren't made in 1970 something.
They weren't. No, they're not. What Ukraine had a drummer. I noticed that they had a drummer.
So several of them had a drummer.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, it's all mimed on stage, and live instrumentation is not allowed.
Well, at least they're honest about it.
What?
Yeah, it's all mimed.
Were you looking to make Stephen mad? Because here we are.
Are they miming the singing too?
Nope. The singing has to be live. Okay. Other than they are allowed to have pre-recorded backing vocals, which is post-COVID.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the reason for that?
Yeah, post-COVID to try to because whether it's keeping the number of people on stage, which is capped at 6 anyway, but keeping the number of people on stage down, or proximity between people lower or whatever. But yeah, so pre-recorded backing vocals have been allowed since 2021. But anything else is like there's no live instrumentation allowed. Everything is mimed for guitars, drums, whatever.
Well, this sucks. I almost had
your faith and love for Eurovision is crushed.
It's a song contest after all.
You know what? I watched a snippet of the 1981 Bucks Fizz performance of "Making Your Mind Up," which of course won Eurovision that year and was featured in this episode, and looked like they were miming too. So they didn't look. I don't know. I'm gonna have to. Were they singing? The answers in the chat in the live stream. Did Bucks Fizz sing "Making Your Mind Up"?
I'm going to disassociate
Eurovision?
during our podcast
Yes.
about Eurovision tangentially if you don't stop talking about this. So
right.
go on, Chris.
We'll get to that one.
All right. Anyway, so I watched Eurovision on. It was no. You're back to your notes. Sorry, Chris.
I haven't even started my notes. Feel free to ramble.
No. I'm done. I'm done for now. Done for now. Go for it.
Liking the songs, hating the songs, whatever. The technical aspects of Eurovision are very impressive on the whole.
Can't argue with that.
Whether it's the production side, the stage management, the whatever. A lot of money and resources go into it, and
It's like Strictly or the
usually
Tonys,
it's pulled off
all
pretty well.
All
Yep.
those have great execution.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't care about any of them, but they all have great execution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other broad strokes to talk about first, but okay, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
No. These are our broad strokes. This is the
Okay.
jumping point off here to talk about other broad strokes. It's to remember, because right now I'm just thinking of the negative reaction I had towards the end of the episode that's sort of clouding my judgment of the whole
Which
thing.
has very
So-
little to do with Eurovision. It's RTD's nonsense.
Yeah, for a while there, it kind of reminded me of that Simpsons episode where they go to the Super Bowl and we don't see a single second of football actually being played, and they make mention of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was in Miami.
Yeah.
Much like the film United Passions, which is about FIFA business guys meeting. It's terrible. I've seen it.
The FIFA sanctioned movie starring
It's
what
so bad.
Tim
Roth, who said I made it because I needed money. That's basically what he said. Anyway, sorry, Chris, I was interrupting.
Go for it, Chris.
The corporation, the sponsor of the song contest is Poppy Honey.
Right.
How will this tie into Poppy from Space Babies? Especially given we saw her last week.
Did Poppy from Space Babies grow up and then? Oh no! I
Like I said, maybe she torched the planet Hellia after stealing all the seeds.
This
They'll-
infant with a flamethrower.
What'll happen is she'll confront the doctor and say, because
be
you didn't
older.
do this in Space Babies, which nobody watched in season 2 and not season 1 remembers, I became evil. And he'll be like, oh no, I'm crying again or something.
Yeah.
It could be a grown-up Poppy. It doesn't have to.
That's
be
what
a
I mean. It
toddler.
will be. It will
doesn't
be a
have to be a
grown-up Poppy.
toddler with a flamethrower.
No,
It will,
assuming
it will
it's-
totally be a grown-up Poppy.
That would
What,
be
what if it
amusing.
isn't? Maybe it's a small child with a motion capture mouth and she's
And a suit because she's a business
and
tycoon.
a suit. She's a business tycoon now. She's 2.5 years old, and I operate a mean.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't
flamethrower.
mind seeing that.
That's true. Maybe it'll happen. Was that one of your points, Chris? Go for it.
That was all of my points.
That's
yes.
all of them?
Just
Okay.
all about Poppy in a business suit. At
All right.
2.5, yes.
Exactly.
All right, let's do it. All right.
Why would Rylan not be a part of the dress rehearsal?
Good
It
point.
just makes no point. It makes no sense other than as a stupid little plot element of people. Of them. They say, oh, we can explain that he had food poisoning or whatever it was.
Maybe.
Right,
but-
Here's my theory. Here's my
All right.
fan theory. Because they keep reviving him every 100 years or whatever it is, or every year for this thing. Maybe that's in his rider where he says, "All right, but I'm not doing I'm done with the dress rehearsals.
I've done-
If you're gonna preserve my body cryogenically and keep bringing me back, no dress rehearsals."
I've done 802 of these things. I don't need to. Do
I know what I'm
anymore.
doing, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Eurovision final runs for about 4 hours. So I mean, the 4 hours that it would take out of his life must be a monumental chunk for him to have to be
Exactly.
frozen.
You bring it on.
Why
He's
didn't
like-
they, why didn't they put him? Why didn't they just leave him frozen when he was pulled from space? Then
Are you pulling
like-
apart my half-assed
Yeah.
off the cuff conjecture,
like-
Chris? Because I'm
it's
very
like-
offended by this.
Hey, kids, this is Light Jump Up. Hey, kids. Bada bing, bada boom. Love the professionals, kid. And Krusty runs off. Okay, Krusty, we're ready to record here. Whoop. He's just like, that's the way he does it. He just goes in and out. He's a pro. Ryan's a pro. Doesn't need no dress rehearsal. All right?
it ties into my next thing. I liked how presenters, or at least Rylan, are being shown as hollow and vapid, needing others to feed them lines or data or information.
Right.
I did like that the cat woman who never really speaks, or I didn't notice her
Speaks
speaking,
French.
She
speaks French. She's a French cat. I'm like, well, that tracks. Cats
The
are all
actor's French,
really,
too. The actor's
inside.
The
French.
actor's French. Yeah,
Yeah,
your
it's good to know
accent.
that in whatever 2945 is that there are still two official languages, English and French.
So
Maybe
Canada took over, is what you're saying. Yes.
Well, maybe it's a CBC initiative because one of the aliens is played by Richard Price. He posted shots of this.
That's awesome.
He had. I thought it was like, oh, he's got a CBC pin on. No, the flag.
That's also awesome.
It's 3 CBC logos.
That rules.
So Canada exists as a country, and we look like whatchamacallit, Lance Guest's co-pilot in The Last Starfighter. Yeah.
Nice. But after the Earth was destroyed on May 24th, when it was reformed, the Beachcombers became the ultimate cultural touchstone, which is why this happened.
Until May 24th of this year, when the planet was incinerated and
that's what I mean when it came back.
And the CBC logos were resurrected from like tribal whatever that was scraped from.
Yeah.
He'd not die.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the Unleashed, Ryland says, you know, how that's not him. He's a pro. He can vamp. He can whatever.
Yeah.
Susan with an exclamation mark.
Susan. Mm-hmm. Got me. That surprised me.
I'm glad it finally happened instead of the endless teasing.
I suppose so.
That I did not expect.
No, nor I.
I also enjoyed how. Okay, so obviously we know nothing yet. So anything we say is supposition.
Right.
But fine, let's get into some guesswork here.
Okay.
So Susan calls the Shudigawa doctor grandfather. Mm-hmm. So the doctor is envisioning Susan as Carol Ann Ford looks now in her 80s.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is Susan picturing Shudigawa as the doctor when she says grandfather? Does she know? Is she
Time Lord
have
just
any
know.
difference?
Time will just kind of know, yeah.
But that completely screws up the Mrs. Flood thing, because why wouldn't Shudi know, or the 15th Doctor know that that's a Time Lord or a Time Lady? Mm. Also, here's my crazy theory. What if Susan regenerates and then that evil Susan becomes part of the unholy trinity? That's the kind of nonsense RTD might do.
I think he's too reverent. I think he's too reverential to not do that.
I
can't accuse the guy of stuff I just cooked up out of my head, but
I feel like Susan. I don't know. I have theories, but I'll wait.
Just to address a question in the chat from Steve Manford: when did the Doctor ever see Mrs. Flood and all this? Well, he does run into her a couple times in. Was it Church on Ruby Road?
The Time Lord thing's convenient anyway. Yeah. Like, I'm sure you could pick up other examples where that doesn't happen. Harold Saxon, for instance.
But yes, the Doctor has seen
Revolution
and talked to Mrs. Flood more than once, I think.
Yeah, I think
Robot
so.
Revolution
For sure, Robot Revolution. Yeah.
And also in season. So after watching this, I searched YouTube and found a compilation of all the clips from season 1 of Anita Dobson, and it even included her appearance at the proms because she was in character as Mrs. Flood.
That's right.
And yeah, the Doctor does. The Doctor does. Meet her, etc. And B, nothing she said, like no lines she had in the past, contradict her being the Ronnie.
Okay, that's good.
Very little enforces that idea, but nothing contradicts it either.
Right.
So
it's vague enough dialogue, basically. That's
kind of, but there is some specificity in there.
Right.
Like, when she says, "What's the matter? You've never seen a TARDIS before," or whatever. So she's playing dumb to the.
So yeah.
Well, no, but she's playing dumb to the neighbor, and then of course once he walks away, she turns to camera and breaks the fourth wall with the whole TARDIS line.
Or she was in hiding and just the Doctor's back.
Right.
How did she survive the Time War? That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
better
find out.
Or in the white jacket on the roof at the end of series 1,
talking straight to camera, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Was the Doctor when you saying all of them last the Time Lords they all died in a single second? Was that the first time Gallifrey was destroyed, or the second time? I don't
second
even
time
remember anymore.
sucks.
Take your pick.
Okay. There's a lot to like in Chibnall, but
as Warren pointed out, I mean, the Time Lords are supposed to be able to detect one another outside of chameleon arch nonsense or whatever type stuff.
Hey, Chameleon Arch's record is pretty good. Actually,
maybe there's a forthcoming explanation of how or why he didn't know. This is
right.
The
and when they do explain it, just give me a one line aside. That's all I need. There's something, but it doesn't need to take up.
Well, it's gonna
room.
have flashbacks, Warren. It's got to have flashbacks
in black and white with warped video and all that.
Sure, but it's flashbacks to dimensions and time. It's going to be canonized.
God, absolutely not. That's the ultimate nightmare. I'll take Eurovision over Dimensions in Time.
They're mentioning a lot.
Last appearance of the Ronnie before this. Last appearance of Susan before this.
Sure.
Yeah, listen.
Unacceptable, but sure.
Add to the great list of crimes to Dimension in Time that it robs Caroline Ford of a Guinness Book of World Record because she appeared in Dimensions in Time.
And 5 Doctors.
And 5. Oh,
well, that's true,
Doctors, of course, too. So, I still want to blame 5. Dimensions in Time for something, but yeah.
You just need a scapegoat.
I do.
And that's fair. Dimensions in Time is a valid scapegoat for.
I mean, Dimensions in Time.
Is it the most camp Doctor Who's ever been?
Well, for now,
according to the Doctor, this is the most camp
so far. The next 2 episodes, Warren, are still on the table. So,
by the way, him saying camp, deliberate acknowledgement of the podcast. Is it camp?
The biggest thing is we're working with a minute of screen time or whatever. Mm-hmm. We don't know anything yet, and
not yet.
We will be told. Ideally,
we'll be told.
We'll be told ideally.
Really, I do have a theory. In that there's the Ronnie there. If you look at her outfit there, as they're showing on the live stream, she's got like a red leather thing, and then specifically those
boots are awesome.
The boots with the huge lifts on them. Immediately reminded me of, because I'm me, they reminded me of the very same boots and very similar outfit to what the pirate captain in the pirate planet
That's true, actually.
So is the Ronnie actually the captain from the pirate planet?
No.
Well, let me guess. Mrs. Flood is short for Mrs. Fibula.
It's right there. That's why
the scary thing is, I'm like, it's possible. It's the kind of thing they might do. We'll see.
It's not not outside the realm of what RTD is capable
of credibility. Well, it's totally incredibly stupid, but
yeah.
There you go. Conrad is Mr. Fibula.
Conrad is Mr.
if anybody's Mr. Fibula, it's probably Conrad.
Yeah, the evil podcaster.
It looks like Ryan Gosling in that photo. That press photo.
Hey, that's an insult to massive Whovian, Ryan.
How dare you? How dare you take Ryan Gosling's name in vain? That is.
Look at those boat shoes. Come on, dude. What are you from? Are you a Kennedy? What's going on here?
I feel like he's not the unholy trinity, but I think he's like going to interview them on his podcast. Is basically
also, what is all this crap behind them? What are these big sword thingies?
They're in TARDIS, probably.
That's kind of a cool looking TARDIS then.
Yeah, her TARDIS.
That's my guess. Also, if you bring up that photo again, look at Mrs. Flood's belt line with the keys.
Yeah,
because she's the warden.
Uniform thing.
She's let what's her name out? Yeah,
which is how they have her open up some prison and let out all of Doctor Who's worst villains. I'm just going to pile the dumbest ideas into this thing. So anything that comes that he actually does will make me feel better.
It's Wish World. Anything you wish is going to come true. So
so that means a lot of fan wank is what that means.
God, I hadn't thought about that aspect, that possibility.
Maybe the unholy trinity is those 3 Doctor Who fans from Lux. In fact, we might be looking at an unholy trinity right now.
What's your next plot point there, Chris?
Well, to be fair, Warren, I mean, we had a, interruption of the closing credits for the coda, like we did in Lux.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah, mid-credit scene. Gotta love those. All right.
Susan calling the Doctor grandfather. So I'm just, I hope, I don't know if we're gonna get something. I don't know if I care if we get an explanation on that, but I'm curious about how does she envision the Doctor? I think having been in Dimensions in Time and seeing at least the first 7 incarnations.
I think, and knowing about regeneration because she is a Time
Lord
lady.
Yeah.
But also, I think if she meets him in person, I have no idea if that's going to happen or not. But if she meets him in person, she'll just it won't even mention it. It'll just be like, oh, of course it's a Doctor. That's my grandfather.
There you go, Warren. Your is it Camp Cohort Sarah's on the chat.
Good.
Now, I see. Thanks, Sarah. What we got here? Confetti cannon versus cricket ball. What worked better? The Doctor had a lot further of a distance to travel with the confetti cannon.
I'm appealing to my nostalgia here with the cricket ball, though.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, if I had to say one or the other, then the confetti cannon is a lot more efficient, frankly. Which doesn't make any physics sense, but okay, whatever. Who cares? An episode about Eurovision.
Neil in the chat says, "You think you're going to get explanations? So naive." Well, I think we might. I think we might get explanations. I don't think we're going to like what they are.
So you escaped from Zarephath. That's what we're going to get. Anyway.
As you know.
Yeah. The Doctor's revival after coming back in from space was very Pulp Fiction.
At least in that one.
I guess.
Yeah.
It was nice where Gary goes, I'm glad you never had to see me work because something bad's happening, and I wouldn't want you to be the person I'm treating. I thought that was kind of nice.
Yeah. I think it's probably somewhere later on, but the whole smittenness, infatuation between Gary and Mike and the Doctor. Each
I've seen worse thruples.
Each of them stepping over each other for Gary and Mike, each of them stepping over each other to just get close to the Doctor. And what was it? Gary says, get back in your lane or whatever.
Yeah, back in the queue. Yeah, back in the queue.
So funny.
Yeah.
That was cute. Why not? Being hit over the head with a Mavity hammer. God, I'm sick of the Mavity thing.
Oh, it's
getting a little tired. I guess.
Yeah, I'm
tired. It's a little much.
That.
It's a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, committing to the bit.
Fix it or something, or
hopefully this will be part of it. The Ron is going to say no, none of this. This is all too silly. No more Mavity. No more gods of nonsense.
Maybe we'll get another trip back to Isaac Newton and it'll get corrected. I don't know.
Maybe Archie Panjabi's the new Doctor, and Shudigat will regenerate into Archie Panjabi, and she'll be the new Doctor, wiping out nonsense throughout the universe. And
that's your own show.
That's my own show. All right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything was cute, but this too much in too short a time here.
Yeah, a little bit.
I liked how the survivors were split apart without any knowledge of each other. It's kind of very Doctor Who storytelling. It obviously also helped with Belinda not realizing why the Doctor was doing what he's doing and all that kind of stuff later on, which we'll get to. Hell poppies sound pretty badass.
You're just taking shots of hell poppies.
Hell poppies.
Yeah,
it's very mostly tolerant universe, except for that one planet where they just
they all hate for some reason.
They all hate them for some reason.
I didn't.
To be fair, there are parallels. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't put anything explicitly about that in my notes, but it's anytime Hellions are mentioned, it's like there's just this instant derision and hate and
right.
Here's my point is that that seems far-fetched, but what about Turf Island? We hate trans people now. Why?
That's true. Yeah,
same thing. We can't have transgender people in sports or in the army because they're too tough for one and not the other. Well, actually, that's applying logic to just straight up prejudice. But so I'm not surprised. It does come off as ridiculous, but we see it every day now. So and beforehand too. So.
As Neil says in the chat, I was just going to say too, Hellions, they're hell, they're goats, they're basically satyrs.
It's a little on the nose,
It's just like, once again, subtext, gone from RTD stuff.
You don't need that. Get that
We
out
don't
of
need
there.
it. Gotta get it. We gotta get the point across. Gotta hammer it home. You're not feeling the way you're supposed to do when she's talking about her home planet. Murray, bring the strings in. Come on. We gotta hear some music.
Obviously, RTD would have had his input in the episode because, showrunner, head writer, whatever. But, there's no credit to him. It's all Juno Dawson in the credit.
I know. Still, it's there.
But still, the upshot of something like that is it does convey a message very easily, very, very economically as well.
So, all right.
It's lame, but it serves a purpose, I suppose.
It's utilitarian lameness.
Warren and Steven doubtless like the notion of the song contest audience being killed by a delta wave.
I didn't dislike it.
3 trillion is going a little far.
Did you notice that
a little Thanosy?
So I guess it's because there was no interruption between the live and the dress rehearsal, but like the amount of viewers didn't drop whatsoever at any point where they showed the 3 trillion viewers.
Nobody.
They're still watching from the bubble.
Yeah.
But what happens?
Yeah, exactly. Just
I'm freezing and dying. But
pulling up their space phones. They're going, we can't miss the show. Yeah.
Like I said, the audience wouldn't have any clue necessarily, other than the absence of rain.
True. Yeah.
Cora being a Hellion, so evident, so obvious, way before the reveal.
It was
just so.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a victim of editing. I don't know if it's the writing.
Right.
As I'll get into in other points coming up, the pacing of the plot and the story in this is so disjointed and off and horrible.
I hear you.
It's jarring.
That it's wrapped up by 35 minutes in, like I was saying. And so we have 10
For
minutes.
me, it was just
songs.
she's got that big hair and she's doing all these eye motions. Like it's clearly she's alien. I'm like, well, I thought she would like pull her hair off and the horns would be there instead of them being cut off. But I mean,
I know.
I had the same expectation as well, but
I figured they were cut off at one point there.
I mean, just the fact she had such a giant bouffant as well.
It's
there to hide intact horns or would have hid intact horns.
Yeah.
And if that easy, why aren't all aliens doing that?
Well, I don't think it was easy. Would she say it was forced upon her? We don't know. We don't know why necessarily.
Yeah.
Other than it did allow her to pretend she was from, was it Tryon or something? Not Tryon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Turlo mentioned. Well,
was it Tryon?
Yeah. No.
No, it was Triton or whatever.
Yeah, it was
Tryon.
Whatever.
No, it's Tryon.
Yeah.
So
which is either Turlo's home planet or the home planet of the Masters from the Tripods TV series. Or both.
Why not both? Tripods coming back. Wishworld.
Oh my God! Maybe the Tripods are back. They're going to make season 3 of the Tripods.
So Wishworld would be all the most obscure things. The Sandbaggers are coming back in Wishworld.
Neil Marsden, Roy Marsden, Neil Burnside returns in set. They're all wearing bowler hats in the
there you go.
7.
They're going to go into that McDonald's on 150 Victoria Street.
So anyway, Mark Strickson back next week.
Mark Strickson back next week. Why not? Wishworld. It all can happen. It can all happen.
Because he generated in Planet of Fire.
Make it
along
up.
with what's his name? I can't remember his name. The main not bad guy. The guy everybody hates.
Who?
What now?
From what?
I can't remember his name.
Palpatine?
No. In Planet of Fire, the father figure guy who brings them out.
Howard?
Timonov.
No.
The Master.
No.
Logar.
Chameleon.
No. The guy who was in a bunch of other shows. The guy was secretly gay and everybody hated him.
Peter Wingard?
Peter Wingard. That's who I was thinking of. He needs to come back.
I
don't know why
you meant the
I blanked
character.
on his
I thought
name.
you meant the character.
No. I meant the actor. The actor. They need to generate Peter Wingard.
Okay,
he
sorry,
comes
I
back
thought-
as a master.
We were like drifting into what's that film you love,
Yeah, I know.
His father's a robot and he's having.
I don't know why I couldn't remember his name.
Stephen,
All
do you have a copy of his song "Rape" ready to play into?
Stop it!
Oh yeah, sorry. What did I
Next
do? I opened
point.
that can of worms.
Next point.
Neil.
I know
will
he's
get to
dead.
that. Neil will get
That's
to
half the point
to that
here.
in the
Neil.
chat, I'm sure.
Somebody
Next
playing Peter Wingard needs to come in. It's the Wishworld. We can do it.
Yeah, there we go.
What's your
I'm
next
sure,
point?
I'm sure there's some Peter Wingard cosplayer out there.
Sure.
All right, so the Doctor threatening kid over the lives of the 3 trillion people was very dark. Without naming names, Stephen, you got an advance summary of the episode that just said very dark, I believe.
Did. That's right. I mean,
Which I was fine with.
From somebody who'd seen it.
RTD was saying that as well. It's like, oh, it's very dark. Ooh, it's not just as it's tired. It's based on that. So yeah. I as the weeks went along, I sort of think, you know what? I think it's probably darker than I'm expecting. And then it wrapped up with 35 minutes left. And I thought, no, there's going to be songs.
The Doctor threatening kid over the lives was very dark. Shudi's performance was very uncomfortable. Good.
Okay.
Like he very, very, very effective.
Yeah, I like him.
Shudi's performance was very uncomfortable, but apparently he has a particular set of skills he has acquired over a very long career, skills that make him a nightmare for people like Kid. It's a riff on Taken, because he starts going on
I never watched
about
Taken.
that tangent.
I'll find you and I'll kill you.
Yeah, I know the meme.
I've never seen
That's all I
Taken,
do.
but
I never.
we all know the
memes.
quote.
We all know the memes. That's all that media is now. It's memes. So
And you're really right. That's half the problem with media is it's all memes and vertical video of people going, here's what I did with my day. I don't care. I've got my own day to live.
From Brian Snape in the chat, I'm starting to get the sense RFS wants Chibnall back. I am one story short of finishing off the Jodie Whittaker box set. I've got just Power
What do you
of
think,
the Doctor yet to go.
right.
I don't want Chibnall back.
Whoa, here we go.
I kind of miss the era, though, to be honest with you.
I might have said this last week. I can't remember. But anyway, 11 went up in my estimation. Season 12 went down. 13. Flux is so goddamn such a mess.
Wow.
But the COVID's got a lot to do with
It had so much working against it that they did, I'm sure, the best they could.
what they could with what they had.
More or less. But no, COVID or Flux is just such a mess because of COVID. And then Sea Devils. Oh, yeah. I still mostly dig Eve of the Daleks. It's a bit of a palate
good.
cleanser in between.
Just wait till War Between the Land and the Sea shows up, and you're like, Legends of Sea Devils wasn't that bad. Which is, you can't.
We don't know that yet.
Yeah.
We don't know that yet.
I'm just going by our trajectory so far.
Yeah.
Belinda's disbelief at the Doctor's threats, equally uncomfortable. Very good performance from Verita Sethu there as well.
She didn't have a lot to do either, honestly.
No.
Again.
She had she was the sympathetic ear to.
That's 2 weeks
Cora's.
of Belinda just sort of like hearing people say things to her.
Yeah, well, next week is about her. Essentially, it's about her because it's about getting her back to Earth and Earth being destroyed. So theoretically, that's
Presumably.
pretty Belinda.
So was the whole series, though. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not sure I like the resolution to the big mystery box delta wave generator thing being a quick zap with the sonic and then boom, it's destroyed.
That's true. Oh, wow.
Just far too simplistic. That said, it is a MacGuffin to get the Doctor into the gallery with kids, so it served its purpose.
I
Question
guess.
mark.
I mean, he does a lot of that Sonic. This has been the most Sonic solves everything. It's going to blow off the heads of robots. It's going to blow up this Delta Wave thing. It's going to do this with that.
We need a couple more Trapitals in there to call their numbers to Sonics.
Triplicate the Mavity field. It does that too. I mean, it did a lot of stuff.
Well, that was through the wire.
shorthand.
He was playing with the wiring.
That's true.
so-
Why
that's-
triplicate instead of triple?
Triplicate is a
That's a
throwback.
bigger word.
It's a throwback to literally
bigger
Aliens of London, World War III, when it says
okay.
triplicate the flammability of this alcohol to the.
And speaking of which, there's pigs here.
And that's
So
why we
those,
get the
those
space
pigs survived,
Yeah.
and they're watching the song contest now.
Yep.
I gotta admit, I was a little amused when in Unleashed, Ryland Clark was talking about how he's such a massive Doctor Who fan, and the pigs in this reminded him of the space pig, and
It's all coming back.
in the Cerulean
I don't
story,
often
two-parter.
gatekeep classic series, but I was like, "Oh, you're a massive Doctor Who fan, are you, Ron?" I caught myself doing that. I'm like, "Oh,
Christopher
right, okay.
Eccleston's your first Doctor.
Yeah, well. You're a massive Doctor Who fan, are you?" And I was like, "All right, you can't do it just because this guy's some celebrity announcer. You can't be that way to him either,
Yeah.
and you'll never hear about it."
Yeah, I'm not sure what age he is, but he should be old. I think he's old enough to have
Well, apparently
at least been around
1,000 years old,
series.
according to this episode.
Yeah. Where, considering the Doctor foiled Kid's plan so easily, his cruelty with shocking Kid multiple times doesn't really sit well. Once the box was destroyed, the Doctor could have restrained Kid, taken him to the authorities, Justice Monolith, as it was later said, or something else that just wasn't just outright torture.
It all seemed over the top a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
It was. Okay, fine, the Doctor's triggered because of the similarities to Gallifrey, as you said, which time.
Right.
But I don't want that Doctor.
I don't mind him being
I don't
more
want that
than just
Doctor even
happy,
for
though.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
I like it going back to what is a good man goes to war. When Matt Smith sort of like gets he's sort
The Colonel Runaway scene.
yeah, and he's like, oh, I'm angry. This is like a new feel. Like he underplays it all. It's like, oh wow, this feels different and stuff because you can sort of see the rage bubbling in there, but he doesn't actually let it come out.
Ryland is 36.
He's 36
Wow.
years old.
He
Yep,
looks, what is it? Maybe 46.
I looked it up too.
But a very smooth 46.
It's 46. Yeah.
With good teeth, or yeah.
I don't mind the Doctor being, just to go back to that for a second.
Yeah.
I don't mind the Doctor having a little bit more to him or her. Like,
I know, but
at
it
one
felt
point
like
Jodie does that. I'm sometimes it's not a flat team
Yeah.
structure, that kind of stuff. So I don't mind that, but it's all in how you execute it.
It felt like there was a switch that was flipped. Dark, angry Doctor, and
Yeah.
then he literally says, as I mentioned later,
Pointing it out.
I
is
was
a little,
triggered by the
yeah.
death of 3 trillion
Now,
people.
Having said that, in universe, the 14th Doctor has done his therapy work, so this 15th might be more, cognizant of what he went through. I guess.
I guess, but like a natural build to that sort
I'm,
of feeling.
I'm doing work on the show's behalf that I should.
You really are, and you got to do that. You got to do that. That's the thing. Yeah.
I don't know if maybe that's a victim of just the runtime. Or the amount of story they wanted to fit in, or whatever the case is. But like I said, I don't like that Doctor. I don't want that Doctor. That's not my Doctor.
Yeah.
We'll probably get a bit of it.
I'll say it
near the end.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it lets both main actors just really, really display their chops. which if that's what I get out of it, okay, I'll take it, because Shooty especially it's just magnificent in his performance with all that. Yeah.
Audible sigh.
I think I like this the best of everybody. What's wrong with the universe? What the hell's going on here?
I don't know.
I think I'm going to do a summary at the end of this. Anyway,
Keep going.
Considering I did that one. After the doctor envisions Susan telling him to stop torturing Kid, you still hear the zap sound 8 more times.
Yeah. Goes on a little long.
It's a little much.
Yeah.
The guy's down on the floor. He's lying in a prone position, and zap, zap, zap. Like, do not like.
He was triggered by the potential death of 3 trillion people. I don't know if you caught that subtext in there, Chris. But that's why he did that.
I must have missed that somewhere.
Barney Gumble.
Don't cry for me, I'm already dead.
I wish it had been said as an overt line.
I know it's. I know you got to read between the lines on this.
Yeah.
I need things spelled out to me. Come on.
It's all nuance and subtext with this showrunner.
Yeah.
8 more times. 8 more times. The doctor's guilt over his actions. So at least he was, felt guilty after the fact. But the doctor's guilt over his actions was portrayed magnificently by Shooty. But I don't like him and Belinda hugging straight away after he's done torturing Kid.
He doesn't deserve that hug. Yeah.
She was aghast at his actions,
Yeah.
and she should have smacked him, talked to him, said something, chided him, something.
Yeah.
The first, and then before,
It's like,
there's no discussion. She is livid at his. That's not him.
Yeah.
Says nothing about it in the gallery. Later on, after around the time of the Graham, both of them seeing the Graham Norton hologram, whatever. She's like, "Do his plant, doctor." And then she says, "Oh, you scared me." Oh, no.
And her character has not been like that up to this point. She's been calling him on his nonsense, lesser nonsense up to now.
Yeah, and even around that same time, she turns to him and says, "Have I ever said you're wonderful?"
You literally said that's on him. He nearly murdered that guy. Oh, I agree.
Although, have you ever watched
tone shift
Army propaganda from American film studios where it's like, it's so tough for me to have to snipe this guy in the Middle East? Yeah, I'm sure you're the guy who's got the real problem here, not the sniped.
Yeah.
Not that this is like that. It just reminded me of that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I need to get off this tangent here.
Yeah. Next point.
Converting a hard light hologram into a tractor beam. What the F?
Is that a Red Dwarf reference? Yeah,
that's
right.
exactly what I thought too.
Do that. Fortunately, the 2 guys who survived getting sucked off into space are the 2 guys. One's a nurse, and the other designed literally everything about Eurovision, apparently, but still has to buy a ticket, which is amusing to me.
No, that sounds. We worked in TV. That's absolutely typical.
That's true. Yeah.
At least it is said that he has worked for the song contest to explain why he knows this corner has this equipment or whatever. There's just too much technobabble garbage. I mean that's not unfamiliar territory for Doctor Who, but it's like the Mavity. This is too much in too short a time.
That's true.
The flirting and interplay between the Doctor, Gary, and Mike. Dug that. I already talked about that briefly.
Right.
Gary and Mike are MVPs, in my opinion.
Sure. And I like that they're, I like that everyone, I think I like anyway, that everyone has a role. Gary's going to be the guy that does the hologram, and Mike's going to be the guy to help to nurse all the people out of the pod.
That's true. Belinda's the person who listens to things.
Cora's manager, writing partner, whatever. His role's not even explained. He's just there.
No, he's just there. I don't know what I don't know what his.
He talks about the.
But he knows what to do too, though. He knows how to.
He talks about the years it took to write the Big Feet song. But his role isn't explained. But yeah, exactly. He has a place. Oh, I wish somebody could convert this VIP pod into a whatever recovery chamber thing.
Resurrection.
Yeah.
pod. Or
Which,
whatever.
okay, good, fine,
Right.
insofar as one person at a time for 100,000 people, except for the time we saw 2 people come out of the pod at the same time, which makes no sense either.
That's true.
Having other outlets for the resuscitation or recovery of the people, okay,
That's
fine,
right.
good.
Bucks
You-
Fizz
you-
was
you have
playing.
to,
You don't
yeah.
need to worry about it, Chris. Everyone was laughing, and the first thing that Liz Lizardine did when she came out of Frozen Suspensions is a sing along. Oh,
Hey!
that's what
We all
singers
know
do.
theater kids. That tracks.
That's true. That's true. Actually, that is a very good point. Yeah. Also, by the way, that I still want to hammer the point home that person, Liz Lizardine, was of the same species as Malfa from the Daleks Master Plan. If you're watching our live stream, seen in
This is the most important part.
seen in a file photo being offered a cigarette by Verity Lambert. I think they are the same species. So
I am sick of RTD's references. Now let me show you something from the Daleks Master Plan.
that's my guess, based on nothing, but it's my guess.
I mean, I'm fine with it. But yeah.
yeah.
As soon as Ryland stepped out of the revival tube thing, I knew something was going to happen with the tube and Mrs. Flood. Again, very obvious signposting
Right.
of where the plot's going to go, at least in part. Bucks Fizz, Making Your Mind Up, UK winner, 1981, played over the revival montage. As, whatever, fine, good.
Is that the only UK
some-
winner ever? Is this kind of like the 1966 World Cup win? Is that
Yes.
England has to
No.
hold on to that
UK
one
is-
time
UK
they
has
won?
won half
Or
a
the
dozen,
1980 Olympics
Yeah.
win with by the
half a
Americans.
dozen times overall, not since 1997. It was
Oh.
Katrina and the Waves.
Katrina and the Waves won Eurovision. They were still a thing. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was after Katrina moved to England. She's been there for decades now.
Where was Katrina before that? Let's talk about Katrina
She's
and the
American.
Waves a little bit.
She's American.
Shut
Played
up.
Pinawa, place of my birth. I remember them mentioning that in a Much Music interview.
Partner Cat is named after her. Like literally.
That's cool.
Literally.
I thought that the Waves were certainly in the UK, right? Because that was a UK song. The video's in London, and they're running around.
I don't know how long she's been in London, but she's been there for decades.
That was both
kinda
a
like-
huge hit and a CanCon staple.
It's not Canadian.
It doesn't matter. It was on Much Music all the time, which means it was a
Well-
CanCon staple.
Okay. It's kind of like Chrissy Hynde in a way. Similar, Chrissy Hynde's American and her band's British. I can't remember. Anyway,
So anyway, Making Your Mind Up, UK winner in 1981, played over the montage. And then Waterloo, 1974, Sweden, and Rise Like a Phoenix, 2014, Austria, which is a little more appropriate now that Austria won Eurovision last night.
I did not know what Rise Like a Phoenix was. I assume it was some Eurovision contest winner at some point.
Conchita Wurst, the drag queen. Who
Oh, is that song? Okay.
fully with cocktail dress and a full beard.
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember
that was that's the one time I was like, Eurovision, you're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Conchita is amazing. Anyway, those are the only actual Eurovision songs played or mentioned throughout. So, I mean, it's not like you need to inundate people with things. So, a little bit of restraint there is good. Mavity. Cora doing the different song at the end is rather Fire Saga. Those who know.
Is that a video game
not a clue.
reference?
No,
I don't know
Fire
what that
Saga is a Eurovision movie made by
okay.
and starring Will Ferrell.
I'm thinking of Fire Emblem, which is even more obscure.
At the end of Fire Saga, they do a different song and get disqualified from Eurovision because it's not the chosen song. Anyway, it just reminded me of
Yeah, I'll never
Fire
watch
Saga.
that. But anyway.
No, I never will.
How long ago was the Hellion genocide if the fires are still burning? Is this the Springfield tire fire?
It is very Springfield Tire Fire that I mention it.
That's true. It just still burns. Man, how long ago?
People are just getting up going, I see it's burning again.
Yeah. I never thought of that. Oh, you're poking the holes in this. This is great.
There's so many holes.
I know.
Well, like I said, just wait till next week. That's going to be
Oh,
Swiss
boy.
cheese, baby.
Belinda's saying they're going to make a podcast about the missing nurse. Was that Conrad foreshadowing?
I hope
Conrad?
not.
Reference to Conrad, who she barely even ever met.
Which is why he's going to be our
Yeah.
producer for the podcast.
And he wasn't even a
That's true.
podcaster at that point.
That's true. Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
I'm just grasping at straws to be funny here. The Graham Norton hologram hitting the word unknown with force and echo and reverb. Like, come on.
I think that the doctor should have said what happened
And
to
the-
the
and
Earth,
it happened-
unknown. Have
the-
him respond to a thing. Like, why should that be part
And-
of it? I don't know.
Same with Mrs. Flood as she by generates. Like, I have to come up with a line like, let
Who's
battle
she talking
commence
to?
or whatever it was.
I know.
Yeah.
She's talking to Gary and Mike, I guess, because
One thing I
they
like
know
about
all.
Graham Norton in Unleashed is he talks about how, I've screwed up Doctor Who a couple times. And he's like, kind of tugging at his shirt about it. I was like, all right, Graham Norton, you seem all right.
I did like that. He appreciated that. Yeah.
He didn't mention specifically the animated one, the greatest crime against Doctor Who ever made.
Yeah,
but
I know. On the SD feed only. Yeah.
Yeah. I know the Graham Norton thing obviously done for effect, but it doesn't mean it's not silly. Mrs. Flood's double brainstem phrasing causing her bigeneration presumably means she's the only one out of the 100,000 to quote die, but even though she doesn't, because she still lives because she bigenerates.
And also, this double brainstem, is that a new thing? Because it sounds pretty new.
Yeah.
Does that mean that shooting every other doctor has a double
two
brainstem?
hearts, two brainstems. You see, that's how.
Because they were struggling within or something. Who knows? Actually, let me revise that.
It's lethal to a time lady, apparently.
Yeah.
Sure.
So obviously time lords are
sexist.
are
Totally sexist.
Yeah.
And gender essentialist.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose we'll find out in time, but why does Mrs. Flood become this subservient, obsequious creature?
I mentioned that before. It's so great that we've had two bigenerations, mostly so that the older white person can hang around while the new, younger person of color can also be there.
I hadn't thought of that, but good point.
It's like, yeah, they can't be their own thing. We have to have the older person. But at least he's subservient. But, yeah.
And also, obviously, of course, Ronnie rearranged the letters to get rain. What causes floods? Rain.
I was thinking what the rearrangement of flood would be. It'd be like gloof. Or Duluth,
I mean, she's still Mrs. Flood. That's the thing for some reason.
But she's called Mrs. Flood.
Don't look too hard at it.
But is she Mrs. Flood?
We're gonna find out next.
Again, this whole
who cares?
here's the Vindicator readings, Mom, and all the. The definite article, so to speak, says the Ronnie. Call back, obviously, to robots and 5 doctors.
Yeah.
And hence, whatchamacallit, think tank.
It's important to drop in lines to, again, no one in particular.
Yeah.
Only dorks like us who don't appreciate them, but should be the ones who appreciate them.
Member berries. AT-ST. AT-ST.
Yep.
Love recognizing things. I watch Doctor Who to recognize things. That's why I do.
Well, okay, we did just do that with the Daleks Master Plan guy, to be fair. So
I'm drawing my own conclusions, though, because Warren, they didn't make mention of it. That's why I get to draw that line together.
Okay. Fair enough.
As opposed to being hit over the head with it. Yeah.
This is from the chat. Is Mrs. Flood Ronnie Barker or Ronnie Corbett?
I've already seen T-shirts that have the two Ronnies logo, and it says the two Ronnies RINIS, which is pretty good. And I seriously consider getting that T-shirt, but that's so obscure.
That's super Ronnie.
That'd be a good galley sheet T-shirt, though.
Apparently, Moffat established the two brainstems thing.
I don't remember, but believe me, I'm going back to watch the Moffat era again in a couple of weeks. Because.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Remember the Moffat era? Yeah. Remember the Moffat era?
Beloved.
No. What do I got here? The last thing I have in my notes is the Ronnie gets it created by Pip and Jane Baker credit.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if the Ronnie was brought back during Chibnall's era? What kind of reaction? The 18 fans out there who would know enough about his, being 16 years old and ragging on Pip and Jane. But
yeah.
Well, to be fair to him, he didn't go out of his way to bring old stuff back, with a few notable exceptions.
Is Benjamin Cook going to do a 75-minute cut-down version of Time of the Ronnie for the iPlayer now? To be just like he did for Pyramids of Mars when Sutekh came back. I'm just wondering. Where do you find 20 minutes to trim out of Time of the Ronnie? I don't know where
don't you?
Where don't you?
To defend Time of the Ronnie, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Whoa.
I do, after we did the thing with WhoFX about the special effects, I do have a new tangential appreciation for all that. He was right about that. The effects are amazing for the time. Yeah, the rest of it sucks, but that is amazing.
Great 35mm model footage shot by Tucker in that. Yeah. Which is not the same. Actually, it looks pretty good. Visually, I thought the whole episode, once again, looked great in Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah, it does look nice.
Yeah.
So earlier on in the chat, Neil said, "Get off the fence, Chris." I'm getting off the fence, Neil. I didn't like this.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Far and away the least.
And I didn't mind it. I don't know what.
Wow.
The world's gone topsy-turvy.
Wow.
I wasn't even wearing this shirt, which possesses me.
Would you
with the love
say
of Eurovision.
nul point? Is that a thing we say, Chris?
No, I don't know what that means, and nobody explained it to me because I don't care.
It means 0 points in
0
French.
points in French.
And I can speak French, but that's the depths of my Eurovision disdain. I don't care. I'll actively forget French amongst
It's
other things,
basically just
names,
become a catchphrase
pronunciation.
for doing poorly, and if you do well, you get 12 points.
I only know,
Line.
Warren, I only know nul point is because Eccleston said it in Parting of the Ways.
Oh, okay.
And someone explained it to me that at the time.
And everything goes through Doctor Who filter with you,
that's all I know.
Which is actively working against you with this season.
That's all
I
I
don't know.
know.
I keep pointing out my window. It's got nothing to do with anything.
I don't know. It's that's where you yell at everything, Warren.
Yeah,
You're
that's
angry.
true.
What are you doing?
There are so many clouds out there to yell at. Come on.
Right.
I do like what Ian McCann said in the chat. I hope Mel cosplays the Rani this time. I would love to see that. That would be great.
Oh, it's gonna happen because it's a reference.
I know, but it would be really funny.
Just
Yeah.
please not in black.
In that
brown
outfit.
not in brown face, please.
No, but she shows up. Oh
Oh,
God, I hadn't even
no.
thought about that. But she does show up in the Mel outfit, just to taunt her.
Is that it? I forgot to hit play on this episode, so it's still playing in front of
Oh,
me.
it would have been.
We're like 90 minutes into this episode, and we've.
Well, no, we're about 80, but whatever the amount of time we're into this is. I don't think I expected to like it a lot,
Right.
but I think I dislike it for completely different reasons than
I-
went
And I'm the
into
exact
expecting.
That's
same.
me.
Like
That's
I didn't
me.
expect to like it at all, and I didn't mind it for a bunch of different
And-
reasons. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
One of the tough parts is never ever really knowing how much of this is Juno Dawson, how much of this is RTD, or others, because obviously there's
Right.
any number of execs who can put notes into.
Well, I guarantee
things.
that Ronnie stuff's RTD. Yeah.
But for the sake of going with the credit, if we put this all on Juno Dawson's shoulders, I don't know if I want her. I don't know if I want to see more from her. I did not listen to Redacted, so I don't
I heard it was.
know.
I listened to a bit.
pretty good. It's
I
pretty
heard It was
good.
really good. Yeah.
I don't know if I want.
She's
less,
written
I-
books, written lots of
She's
books.
written
good books,
I don't know if I want less from her in Doctor Who, or if I want more from her as a chance for redemption.
Or to see other stuff that she's done,
Yeah.
or is going to do.
Yeah, it's nothing I'm ever gonna.
Yeah. All right.
It's like convincing Steven to listen to rap music or something. It's just not.
Why? What? Why wouldn't I listen?
I'm
to
seeing the
rap
Wu
music?
Tang in a month. So
Yeah, I won't
point at
listen.
that window because that's where it's going to be.
I don't want to
right
listen to Eurovision. That's what I don't want to.
No, I'm never going to do that. This is not convinced. This is not maybe a Eurovision enjoyer. The T-shirt may belie that, but I'm not a Eurovision enjoyer. And I never will be.
Yeah.
And it's mostly due to you, the fans, because you guys won't shut up about it.
Blaming you.
I'm trying not to talk about certain aspects of Eurovision this year, but there's one certain aspect those
I mean, yeah,
that's
it's going to come up.
not unlike Doctor Who. Let's just say the fans ruin it for everybody else.
Oh. Ooh.
Not unlike most. Yeah, I just don't follow other franchises.
No.
But Last of Us is a perfect example. Video game
Right.
fanatics won't shut up about this game, which is why I haven't watched the show, because I played the game. I'm like, this is fine, but it's not the end of the world like these guys say it is.
Did the fans ruin Eurovision in a similar way that Ncuti Gatwa dropped out of being the UK spokesperson?
Or on two separate issues.
Is that related, Chris, or is that
No.
Okay.
Well, actually, kind of yes.
And we don't actually know that he dropped out for the reason we're hinting at, which is that
Yeah.
there's a backlash against Israel for probably particular reasons.
Yeah.
So it's all down to Israel's participation in Eurovision, which is a divisive topic, shall we say?
Shall we say?
So Ncuti Gatwa, as we talked about last week, was meant to read out the UK jury points, and Sophie Ellis Bextor jumped in when Ncuti said, The BBC said, whatever they said, the links in the show notes. But yeah, the supposition is that, especially down to the timing
Right.
of things like Israel was announced as getting through to the final from their semifinal, which they won. They just blew away the other countries with their score for their semifinal. But yeah, within minutes apparently of Israel qualifying for the final, Gatwa stepped down.
Yeah.
And, people are figuring it's because he's been on the record as being very pro-Palestine.
Very much. Well,
I never thought I'd be the voice of
I know, Warren. I know
optimism
you
here.
are.
Optimism
You
is
are.
a bit of a stretch, but yeah.
We're bracing. We're bracing for impact for the next couple episodes. Let me tell you. Because we don't know what's coming, but we know.
Well, and people, I see people in the chat saying, "You guys aren't optimistic like you used to be." If you go back to RTD1, or you go back to any of the other eras, we were just as critical in those. That there was less to be critical of, and there was less repetition because it was new. So.
That's true. I mean, and you know what? Like a lot of the times this week, I've been going. Okay, what? A lot of people seem to say, "Yep, another winner, This is my favorite season of Doctor Who since you know what."
I hope they're happy.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum.
Yeah, exactly.
But I
know.
But I'm not gonna lie. Like if I didn't,
at the end of
I'm not gonna say I did.
At the end of the day, I mean, nobody needs to explain why they liked or disliked something, but you get this visceral reaction and you go with it. You're okay, fine. I'm not you. You're not me.
I know.
We wouldn't do more than 1,000 of these stupid things if we didn't love this show.
That's true. In
general.
Even though I am looking forward to the Savages coming out on Blu-ray.
Mine's coming on Thursday, so
like
Amazon.
I'm tearing the cover off of that and watching a 90-minute documentary about a show
I'm not watching
that
the
no
Savages.
longer exists.
Who cares?
And it's like I cannot wait to watch that documentary. And I'll be looking forward to that more than I'm looking forward to seeing Wishful.
Also, surprise, we're all old and we are set in our ways.
Maybe.
To a point. I think we're all
I think we're more flexible than some.
I was talking it over with.
That's going to creep in.
I was talking over with Erica yesterday about how this is the first time in however many years I've been watching the show that I've felt this far away from liking a Doctor Who era in the entire history of the show.
The show,
I love everything. You know that. I'm the most.
Oh yeah, of course. You'll find ways to love it.
And right now, I'm not.
Also, let's not forget that the greater world is going to hell in a handbasket. So some of that leaks into people's overall look at things too.
Maybe not mine. Not mine, honestly.
Well, I envy your ability to ignore the world. Then
I mean, Chris, oddly enough, you went through Whittaker again and sort of went like that and again. And I'm wondering if I go through and watch RTD2 Who. Again, at a time when other great shows aren't on and NHL playoffs aren't happening, and will I view it? I don't know.
Well, the initial run is always like that. Like with all this stuff, even with Moffat stuff, there was a few where we're like, okay, really, and then it came back with a banger. Like, and RTD might do that next week for all I know. Like
everything is going to have ups and downs. Not everything is to everyone's liking. That's fine. It's a wide audience. But at the end of the day,
anything else? There's other news to talk about if you want, but what do you got? What do you got there
I was just gonna say, rewatching Gatwa's first season before, just before season 2 debuted, that went up in my estimation. Somewhat.
Did it?
But I think number one, a little bit of distance is not a bad thing. Being able to just to sit down and watch it and enjoy it without having to worry about having to fuel a discussion after the fact or whatever. I think that's helpful. Not to mention that I'm not the person I was when Whittaker first was on the screen. So
true.
Of course, I'm going to have different assessments. 3 to 5 years later.
2 examples for me. 42 and Unicorn of the Wasp. I really disliked Unicorn of the Wasp the first time I saw it, amongst everything else. I saw it again, I'm like, it's fine. I don't know what the hell I was complaining about. And at 42, we all built it up to be something it wasn't. It was actually just a standard, decent adventure. It was fine.
It's a story.
That was told in real time. That wasn't real time, and it still irks me to this day.
Well, okay, so Chris is the outlier on this, but I'm just saying, stuff I see 5, 6, 7 years later, I'm like, it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Right.
Or sometimes I'll see stuff, and I'm like, that was never near as good as I thought it was.
There we go. From the live stream chat from Tent Ringer. You guys need to channel your inner Duggadoo.
I don't know what that means.
Duggadoo. That's got to come out, right? They got to put out a full video of that, please.
I don't need to hear that. We're going to hear that at Galley. Oh my God, there's going to be so much of that at Galley.
Release it. Listen, in 2036, when the season, when the RTD2 era soundtrack finally comes out, I want to hear Duggadoo on that.
Speaking of Galley, I just want to do a shout out to friend of the show, Riley Silverman, who said that she's going to cosplay as Mrs. Flood so she can just follow Rannies around. I think that's a brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant.
Being subservient to them. Yeah. Is that it? Talk about other things that happened in this week at Doctor Who, and then get the hell out of here since we've been going on for long enough in this podcast. Yeah, anything from you too? Any more rants and raves? Go on.
Yeah, as far as the bi-generation stuff goes, I liked the so from the behind the scenes aspects, like the director talking about how the way they did the Bi-Generation was to watch the
Doctor Who
Bi-Generation
Unleashed.
from the giggle. Watch the Unleashed.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, actually.
And basically just replicated the steps and including the little the thing that holds people stable up to the waist so only their torso can move.
Right.
And the division of the clothing so I mean sure, okay, this is this new thing it is what it is, but at least we've got consistency, darn it.
We're never going to get another singular regeneration again for the rest of the RTD2 era.
Well, that might be 2 more episodes.
Except in 2 weeks maybe if rumors are.
Well, when they eventually have to go back to multicam video, which we have foretold, they will do Bi-Generation, but it'll just be a strict dissolve, or they'll bring back the Watcher. 2. In fact, the Watcher is a Bi-Generation.
Watcher's coming back in Wish World. Yeah. Everything happens in Wish World. Whatever you want to happen.
The Watcher is a sandbagger somehow.
But yeah, let's put a bow on this. And,
okay.
So
a rainbow bow because to fit the theme.
one thumbs up and 2 thumbs down.
It's more of a thumb middle.
Yeah,
like it's a thumb slightly up.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, and it's kind of a like a dog that's like, oh.
Well, hey, even though Doctor Who is ending May 31st, at least the season is, but there's a new special edition of Doctor Who Unleashed coming in June sometime, celebrating the 20 years since the revival of Doctor Who. So that's coming up. It'll feature Ncuti Gatwa and Verda Sethu as seen at the premiere. That's where that one photo was taken.
And then that coat is awesome.
Go back to that picture.
We're also looking at David Tennant and Billie Piper reunited at last. That was half of Billie Piper's life ago. Was when she came on Doctor Who.
And he's wearing a 19 to indicate he's gonna be the 19th Doctor.
Oh, that's it, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That's it.
In 2055.
Yeah, so that's coming in June, presumably on the YouTube page as well, and not just hidden somewhere on BBC iPlayer or something like that. But so that's happening. That's always fun and exciting, isn't it? What else we got here? We've jumped around and looking on our news list in the show notes. So there's a Film is Fabulous event this past weekend where Tim Burrows from the Doctor Who Missing Episodes podcast, which itself has been missing recently. Tim, get back on it. I want to hear more episodes. But he talked to Sue Malden, where she reaffirmed basically what Paul Vanessa said on this very podcast some 6 years ago now, that episodes exist in the hands of private collectors, and that they are being well taken care of, quote unquote.
That sounds a bit like when somebody gets renditioned and they're being well taken care of.
But like that felt that.
So are there missing episodes in El Salvador then?
Anyway,
your silence speaks volumes.
Political joke. It didn't land.
Yeah, political joke. Yeah, fun times down in the old US of A. Film is Fabulous event was amazing. They showed a few, because they've discovered a lot of missing television. Not Doctor Who, but you never know.
That one weather broadcast from 1963 was. How did we live without it?
I know, right?
Excuse me. That's a very valid point. How did we live without it?
There's a lot of stuff that they've actually found from private collections. As
somebody with a history degree, I like it when they find stuff like this. Obscure stuff is important.
It's history. It's history, damn it.
Exactly.
And so they've been doing great stuff. And yeah, there's at least 2. There's at least 2 in the hands of private collectors. Hopefully those people will. I'm sure they do the right thing when the time comes and hand them over. But yeah,
I'll talk about amnesty and this and that. From the BBC has never done anything to punish anybody who's returned an episode.
Not according to fan forums.
Yeah. So
I mean, think of the care and whatnot that went into what Putz had brought back from Nigeria. I don't want to say.
No. Fair enough.
But they got the film cans and just went straight to restoration, and there's no negative.
That's just
no.
It's like people on social media tend to build themselves up into a lather of their own making. That sounds like that, basically.
Yeah,
and that's not just social media. That's way back in the day too.
Mm-hmm. But think of it, maybe
it's been done for non-Doctor Who stuff that's been returned to archives. I don't know.
We're gonna have more missing episodes returned. That's maybe only a couple, maybe 3 or 4. Who knows? There's at least
Yeah, but
2.
they wouldn't be so insistent if they didn't have something to back it up, I don't think.
Well, I mean, there are 2. I don't know which 2. I have an inkling that they're probably not the ones we are hoping for.
Like Marco Polo.
There's probably not a Marco Polo in there. There's probably not anything from Power of the Daleks in there. But I bet you there's probably a couple of random episodes that are for some reason on a film can in somebody's
Can you imagine
somebody's
if
attic.
the restoration was them making it in color? Like they just never released the black and white version. They just put out a cut down in color version.
Cut down in color. Yeah.
That's the lack of amnesty.
What else? Oh yeah, there's some other stuff. So there's a big thing in the Mirror. Nicola Methen put out an article, which is, let's face it, mostly based on stuff that's out there in the public eye. Because RTD has even said, if Disney doesn't come through, that we have plans. This is our job. We come up with the plans and everything like this. I'm waving my arms in the air like he does, kind of. Anyway, it reported that the next 2 series have already been written. RTD has hinted that there are. He's got ideas and stuff. I know for a fact that a writing duo, one an experienced writer. I'm not going to name names because I don't know the names, but I do know that an experienced writer and their writing partner months ago have already had the first episode of season 3 written, ready to go.
Okay.
It's been there. I think season 3 was probably all ready to go, probably close during production to season 2. So that doesn't surprise me.
One thing about RTD that I've maintained all the time is he's a hell of a producer. Like he knows the stuff. He's very good. He's very good at that job. So Disney's participation or not, he knows he needs to, get the ball rolling on things, no matter whose name is, who's producing it.
Working around whatever. It's just another problem to work around. And honestly, my gut says Disney's out because, they're just scaling everything back anyway.
Yeah, is it in this article? So one of the aspects that people are talking, it is in here. The BBC broadcasts its high definition shows in 2K picture quality, but Disney needs a 4K image for its streaming service, and the additional effects work costs a significant amount. So people are putting a lot of weight into that and saying, "Well, okay, why not just produce it in 2K?" Well, they're not going to.
It's shot. It's been since
it's going to be shot.
Whitaker's been shot in 4K.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be shot in 4K or 8K. I mean, there's nothing saying they couldn't downsample, whatever.
They will
bring it down to 1080p or something if they absolutely had to do so. But I don't even see that happening because
the assertion that 4K effects are more expensive is true, though.
It's absolutely true. 4 times the number of pixels to work with versus 1080p, but it's still something that, if you want to sell it, markets are going to make that same demand, whether it's Disney or whoever.
And it's fair of Disney to ask, or not say, because that's what their platform is.
At the end of the day, that is just where TV production is at right now.
Now, having said that, Made in Canada, which is in glorious 4:3 SD, is sitting right there on Disney Plus, confusing the hell out of me. So they'll show stuff that isn't that.
That's true. And, old Simpsons and other things.
That
and old,
too, yeah.
Other shows.
And they had a backlash because they widened them, and everybody's like, no, you put that back to the original aspect ratio. I'm not surprised that they have plans. I mean, the set is still there. Jane Tranter posted on her Instagram just this past week that she welcomed some executive or someone from some other government or something into Bad Wolf Studios, and they had a shot of them at the TARDIS set. TARDIS set's still standing in Bad Wolf Studios. The Pope came to Bad his first trip.
The one standing set in Doctor Who is still fully standing and lit and everything else. So it's I mean, let's not write the obituary yet for this era of Doctor Who. We'll do that in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, we're Doctor Who fans, so we do that. But
there's time and a place, especially when we're almost 2 hours into this podcast. But yeah, I am cautiously optimistic that Doctor Who will continue in some form or another, not to directly quote Jane Tranter from that one BBC radio thing, but actually on TV and not just a Big Finish or a webcomic or something like that. But
will they get a thing at the credits that says Doctor Who will
return?
Like stuff,
yeah. But we'll talk about that in a couple weeks' time at the absolute earliest. There's also a interview on Deadline with Jane Tranter about U.S. co-productions, because there's a new the other Bennett sister is the new series that Bad Wolf and BritBox have put together. And she's talking all about co-pros, about how there's a U.S. co-pro slump right now because of spending, tariffs. Let's face it. It's kind of like a lot of spending from U.S. productions is kind of like drying up a little bit. So finding co-productions when it comes to producing partners is a little difficult. BritBox has sort of stepped up for this. It's but it is just sort of a thing about an Austen era sort of costume drama. It's not quite the big budget spectacular that Doctor Who is purported to be, but
that's not the kind of stuff that hits on BritBox anyway. So.
No, and I don't think that BritBox, as great as it is, would necessarily be a reliable home for a worldwide hit like Doctor Who is. I'm just thinking of things that, if Disney isn't a thing, where a future international home for Doctor Who would be.
Newly reminted HBO Max.
That's true. HBO is back, baby.
In POG form.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, I was going to ask, do we need a streaming partner for Doctor Who with the BBC? I think the answer has to be yes.
I think we have to. Yeah, it has to be.
Not streaming necessarily, but partnership in general.
Yeah.
Whether it's cost sharing or distribution, whatever. Oh, crap! There's the second part I was going to say now. It slipped my mind.
That's totally fine.
That's what it was. So let's say, for example, BBC Studios, Bad Wolf, whoever. Let's say they don't partner with a streamer. They don't partner with Max. They don't partner with Netflix. They don't partner with Amazon Prime Video.
Okay.
Whatever. How willing are other countries going to be to pick up that slack again now that it's been taken away? So I think of Australia. Lots of Aussies were really pissed off at Disney Plus getting exclusive broadcast.
Right.
Or even in Canada, we saw what Crave did to Doctor Who. Crave did Doctor Who dirty.
Oh yeah.
Where are these regional distribution things? Are they going to materialize if Doctor Who isn't partnered with Netflix, Paramount Plus, something?
Yeah, I don't know. It's it's like broadcasters aren't a thing anymore. It's not like you're going to broadcasters. You're not going to BBC America or.
And just to shove this in the chat, Steve Manfred says, whatever streaming partner it is, I hope they get the entire Whoniverse on once it's available later this year. Yeah, so one thing I've seen several times in recent months, or especially recent weeks, is ads on like Facebook or whatever from Disney Plus for Doctor Who saying, revisit the classics or whatever phrase you're using. It's like, you have 15 episodes? Like, what am I
specials?
That's including them. What am I revisiting on Disney Plus? Like these ads are insane.
Take a look back to 2023, late 2023.
Is it specifically saying Doctor Who revisits the classics, or is it talking about old animated crap from the 30s?
No, it's specifically a Doctor Who ad.
Oh, okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't think I'm getting overly nostalgic for the giggle, but maybe I'm wrong.
You may change your tune in a couple weeks' time.
Yeah.
Remember when things made sense? The giggle?
The giggle, those days. The first by generation.
Before they cheapened by generation.
Yeah.
That's not
time to get the CBC involved Doctor Who again, maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
Yeah, we'll talk about stuff. We'll talk about that. This has gone on long enough. The podcast, not the show.
That's our title for the final.
This has gone on long enough.
And as one last point on all this, as has been talked about in the past, I mean, anything we do get, we are definitely going to be facing a gap of
yeah, for sure, no matter what,
18 months, 24 months plus.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this will be I don't know what we'll do, but we'll do something. Don't worry. It's our 20th anniversary as a podcast next year, so
plenty classic episodes haven't been sullied by our presence. So
might be the first year where there's no Doctor Who at all, including a Christmas special. Maybe there'll be a Christmas special in 2026. Who knows? But maybe they can cobble that together. Anyway, we'll have thoughts and ideas later on. Done of that. One last thing. There's a Kickstarter for who is this Kickstarter for, Chris? You put this in the show notes. You probably know more about it. Cutaway Comics is doing a thing called the Happiness Patrol, Unhappily Ever After. It's like comic with, honestly, comics is where the Happiness Patrol comes alive. Because
I like this Candyman better, to be honest.
Yeah, the
with you.
Candyman that we're showing in the live stream here.
I don't like him, but I like him better.
With Ace with the hot poker, which will cut through him like a hot knife through butterscotch. Anyway, there's a Kickstarter for their newest thing. It's already been reached with 16 days ago. There's already enough to go for it, but you can help support the project. Links be in the show notes at radiofreeskaro.com or on your listening device. So that's it for this very long episode of Doctor Who : Radio Free Skaro. Next week,
For Wish World,
we
didn't talk about earlier.
What?
No next time.
Yeah, no trailer.
No
Nothing
next time trailer.
Nothing on YouTube. Nothing at the end of Interstellar. No.
I mean,
nothing.
I think it kind of works given the whole Ronnie thing and Susan. Like, you don't need to throw even more at you. Like, maybe it might show up in a couple of days, and that's fine if it does, or it doesn't, for that matter.
Or a little teaser here and there. But suffice to say,
I suspect we'll get something probably midweek.
There is a little bit in Unleashed, like their little 2-second spoiler thing.
Yeah, with the
they show a
dinosaur
tiny clip from
bones,
it.
whatever
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But that's
anyway,
that's not a next time.
No, but it is something.
Trailer.
Yeah.
our usual live stream is going to be delayed because Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Western Conference Finals between the Dallas Stars and your Edmonton Oilers is happening that afternoon. So I will be at that game. So our live stream is going to be later, much later, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. ET. That is 1 a.m. in the UK. 8 a.m. in Sydney to be factor in? Is that what it is?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Oh, that's great. You got nothing to complain about, Sydney. You finally got a time for you. So,
well, that's just it. Most of the time we pick is going to screw over either the UK/Europe or Australia. One or the
that's
other.
true. That is
By the
true.
way, I saw a balut earlier that had this picture here of Mrs. Flood, a.k.a. Ronnie, and the Ronnie looking, and it said, we saw your vibe from across the bar, and it was effing dreadful, actually.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
if let's say that happened, Warren,
Yeah.
just for the sake.
I don't like where this is going at all.
No, I don't.
So let's say this person they see across the vibe. Let's say they go and they do stuff.
Okay.
Does that person's body count increase by 1 or 2?
I said I didn't like this, and I still don't like it. How about you're just being, I'm going to Doctor Who redact you and that comment. Thank you, Juno Dawson, for letting me use the title.
I'm happy to leave that dangling over the edge.
I'm sure you
of the
are.
episode.
No, we are not.
Anyway, is that it? We're done?
Lastly, the
2
chat
hours.
going crazy about was it Canbox? I think was the suggested name of streaming service for Canadian TV.
I'm all for a Canbox. That'd be great.
Talk about Edison twins.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's kind of what CBC Gem is. You can use a VPN to get into it, people, and it's free.
Oh, that's right.
I've watched Canadian news from America using a VPN and CBC Gem, which I do pay for, so $5 a month.
Anyway, that's enough. So we covered this episode. We didn't like it for the most part. And next week, well, we'll see. Wish World.
Let's hope for better. Let's hope.
Let's hope for better, kids.
Yeah.
We
Let's hope for
don't
better.
like having to be negative.
We really don't.
No, we don't.
I don't.
But
hate
it is
Doctor Who.
it is still a compulsion. I mean, our point here is to
I still
dissect
want
and
to.
take
I'm not
apart
going to
them.
lie, no matter what it is.
I'm not going to say I didn't have fun watching it because I did. It is a bit of a romp. It is a bit campy.
I
Yes,
was
as the doctor
surprised I
says.
didn't hate it.
So if we can end this on a bit of a positive note, there are some elements that were enjoyable. Performances top of my list. Especially.
Yeah, good
Good
stuff.
time was had by all.
Until you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note, in the meantime, and in between time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
More in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now. Why do you shake your head at my Ed Whalen reference there, Chris?
Because of what it is.
How dare you? You should celebrate the Ed Whalen reference.
Oh, that's a long one, kids.
I'm naming my file 1K15 just to spite you.
There we
I'm
are,
absolutely not doing that
1K15.
because that's blasphemy. and
Yeah,
wrong.
next week. Sorry for the delayed live stream, but whatever. And then we're gonna get into it a couple weeks hence. Oh boy.
Oh God, I really hope it isn't terrible. I genuinely do hope that live stream it isn't terrible.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, the death of Doctor Who has already been used as a title. But,
Anyway, kids, Ta-ta for now, live.
Yes, thank you, chat, for being very
very active.
Very active.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Bye. 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 Bye.